Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome to tradertv.live. We had some retail sales data out overnight in China, pressuring U.S. stock futures this morning as we kick off a brand new trading week. Retail sales in China for July increased 8.5% year over year, well off the 11.5% increase that economists were looking for. Online sales up about 4.4%. That number also missed expectations. So we see European markets in the red and futures here in North America pointing to the downside on that note as well. Elsewhere, there appears to be growing support within the U.S. Federal Reserve for tapering to start possibly sooner than later. They're talking even as soon as September. So kind of lingers in the background to start off the new week as well. Overall, the Dow and S&P back in record high territory. If you remember when the markets closed on Friday, the NASDAQ was a little bit of an underperformer last week, finishing the week down 0.1%. We'll get U.S. retail sales data for July coming out tomorrow morning. So we'll talk about that coming up tomorrow. A few things moving around here in the pre-market, including PaySafe. They announced a new acquisition. We'll discuss that and some of the crypto stocks back on the move as well. It's Monday, August 16th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. And a bit of a red start, as mentioned. You can see all three U.S. markets to the downside at this point, about 0.4% right across the board. Same story here in Toronto, 0.4% for TSX futures. Crude oil under pressure to start things off as well, 3% to the downside. A little bit of negativity coming back into crypto markets, but we had Bitcoin over 48,000 for the first time in 3 months, going back to Sunday. A bit of a pullback here as expected to start the week off. Good morning, guys. It's Monday. A decent look here for the market overall. I mean, as we said, record highs for the Dow and S&P back on Friday. NASDAQ there or thereabouts. Pretty muted overall last week, as to be expected here in the middle of August.
That is true, Brendan. Welcome everybody. And as usual, when you say that about Bitcoin, it made me double check stocks. I'm like, we pulled back from 48,000. Oh, yeah, of course. We did hit that 48,000 number. There are a few things moving around in the markets here today. NAOV, Nanovibronics, I just noticing this one ticking all the way to pre-market highs right now as we speak. We'll talk a little bit about PaySafe as well. And then there is going to be that one from Friday, and I don't know if it made our watch list, but that SESN. Now, if you're watching the afternoon show, you know that bad boy was a big-time mover. I've never seen anything quite like that in terms of just simply how far this thing fell. It's actually on the way back down again, but just to quickly show you guys, if you weren't paying attention, this one gapped down from $6 to like 86 cents. It halted several times. I don't know if we'll get that kind of action here today, but certainly excited to look at it. And it's a Timbit kind of morning. Maggie is back after her week off, and she decided that Sean and I needed Timbit. Oh, you can't even see them. That we needed Timbits in between us.
There we go, yeah.
People
wondered, is that
Can you
camera?
see?
There we go. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
It was 20 in there.
Look at all the chocolate in there.
Nice one, Rob. Yeah, we'll have to blame other people for that one. But yeah, no, welcome again, guys. Yeah, it's nice to have Maggie back. Nice to have the team back rocking and rolling here. So we're very, very excited. Of course, we have Memes and Movers as well coming up at 11 with Valeria and Trader Prad. So we're super excited about that. I just have the imbalance locator up here. Also, Sticky Note is now up as well. But Neo is leading the way, but other than that, it's kind of a sleepy time. Alibaba's right back to that last level that I bought at 183, 184 today. Downside for Alibaba, and I think some of these Chinese names continue to be weak. There's tons of, I mean, it's really sad. We were just talking about some of the stuff that's happening globally here with the continued and now, you know, more devastating, actions now in Afghanistan, which is pretty sad. So we'll see if there's going to be a response from the U.S. government, or any government at this point for that. I heard some Chinese speaking as well about that. And then we also have the poor people of Haiti.
Oh my goodness.
Can't get any worse. So, I mean, just another earthquake there, rocking that nation. Over 1,300 deceased there, and they're going to be finding more. So, I mean, it's not a great way to start the show. But with that being said, you know, we are a stock market, they follow the global reactions. And right now the market's down, and it's down decently, and it feels heavy today. So watch out for the markets, and I'm going to try to be as many names short as I can. There's going to be a few names that we'd like to go along with, Sonos, a couple other names as well. We'll see Palantir's been barcoding, so we'll watch some of that. But yeah, look, it's going to be a good day. Volume's going to be light, and the market looks to be a little bit negative, but we'll guide through this. Stick with us, and let's have a good time.
All right, that nanovibronics, we were sitting here just before we came on wondering if there was something that was causing this move, guys, but here's a headline, just came out there at 8:30. When we started, they're talking about that pain shield, so they're going to expand product portfolio with the introduction of pain shield with over-the-counter use, or the aim for over-the-counter use. If you remember, the beginning of last week, they got approval for that same product in Australia, so we'll keep an eye on nanovibronics going forward here this morning. Before we go any further, let's get over to the desk and say good morning to Miss V.
Hi guys, I hope you had a wonderful weekend and ready for a productive week. Please don't forget to like this video, and let's get it started, Brendan.
Let's indeed get it started, guys. Lots to discuss this morning, including Tesla under pressure here on this announcement of the investigation from the U.S. government investigating their autopilot system. This is going back to 2014, so they're going to look at crashes involving Teslas that were allegedly being driven under autopilot between 2014 right up to 2021. So that caused a bit of a spike to the downside here in Tesla. Tesla on the watch list this morning, but a little bit negative here.
Yeah, this actually on the heels of what also was driving down some of the Chinese EV makers, including NIO leading the punch, because there was a tragic crash on autopilot with NIO over the last couple of days, and that sent it to the downside. Now Tesla, I know there was this little spike down we're actually seeing here, and we're holding that. It held that 700. I shouldn't say we're holding that 700 level. It got down to 700, bouncing up to 705. And on the week, well, I guess the last couple of weeks, you have been noticing the Tesla's just been hanging out in, it's range bound, but that 700 to 725 mark, right? So we're consolidating near the top. With the market looking somewhat heavy this week, I mean, I have, I played a bounce off of 39 here in NIO. I'm not playing a bounce off of Tesla and 700. I kind of feel like no need to do both those things. But if we crack that 697 to 700 level on Tesla, if that happens today on this news, you're probably heading back towards, I mean, I'm going to say 675, but you guys are going to want me to say 666. Certainly something that could happen this week. But for now, 700 has held. I kind of feel like the timing of this right after the news that came out of China as well with NIO, probably the worst double punch that it could get. That being said, there were concerns about autopilot for a while. This is not necessarily something which is coming out of absolutely nowhere. So I think Tesla overall is going to be absolutely fine. It just might have to suffer through, if it can't hold that 700, might have to suffer through a bit of a downward pullback into that 75 area.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, exactly. I think if you need a reason to sell Tesla, this is probably it. And I think that people will probably take this, this advantage and do that. And I mean, you're just cruising along here. You're going to break probably that 697, which on the daily chart, is that little bottom right there. So 697, 698, something like that. I think that's a reasonable area to get out of your trade. I mean, especially if you're long in this area, like 570, 600, low 600s, things like that. If we do think the market's going to be a little negative, which I do, I'm actually just in a new position right now. I'll punch Sonos out. You can see that on the bottom. So we are now long Sonos there. But I'm looking at this one right here, 699, 700. We'll see if it can hold it. But again, I don't think it will. Like, I think it'll come not crashing, but I think we'll hit to the downside here and then probably trade in and around this 50 period, maybe all week, maybe testing some of these bottoms. And again, it just matters, honestly. I mean, Tesla is its own beast. It won't follow the market exactly. But if the market does come down, I think people will sell winners. And Tesla over the last 2 months has been a winner. So that makes sense to me. There's a lot of stocks that have been beaten down. I just think people will take money out of Tesla on this reason, and then we'll go to the downside. Or it could be the complete opposite, where it's a nothing burger and the market rallies, and then we continue to move upside. So for me, though, I'm a seller of Tesla. We'll see where the action comes today, but you have to watch out for that 698, 697 area. And I think if it breaks that and you're long, you should take out half or take out a quarter or something like that if you're swinging this thing, and then wait to see if you can pick it up in the mid to low 600s maybe.
All right, let's bring in Mark Roberts, president of Sun Lake Strategies, get his take on Tesla among more macro things that we're looking at and discussing To kick off the brand new trading week here, Mark, good morning. It is going to be an interesting week here with a few data points to come. We had China retail sales out overnight in China, late on Sunday, in fact, that were definitely well below expected. That kind of kicked off this negative feeling to start off the new week through Europe and now coming into North American markets as well. We'll get July retail sales data tomorrow for North American markets and North American data, obviously. What are your thoughts here as far as the retail sector? How important is this as an overall gauge of where things stand at this point?
Well, globally, I think it's huge. You have a few headwinds. You've got a third of the largest ports in China that's still closed or disrupted, if you will, due to a small COVID outbreak. The variants are going to throw a loop into most of the retail situations. Japan, for example, is having much more of a booming retail environment at the moment because people are stepping aside and not worrying as much about the variant. Here, many of the retailers have done probably better than many had expected because Americans are dying to get, and no pun intended, are dying to get back outside and go back to a normal life. But on balance, retail, I don't think back to school is going to be quite as robust as it has been in recent years.
And as far as online, maybe we'll see a little bit of an uptick in that number, but we'll talk a little bit more about that maybe on Wednesday after we get that number again tomorrow at 8:30, guys, for July retail sales. As far as the overall economy goes here, we're looking at, I mean, CNBC was the first to report that the tapering word has kind of crept back into the conversation, and now they're talking that there is support for possibly even September.
Yeah, I think that's it's inevitable. The economy will grow. Labor force will start to expand a bit more. We have to get, or at least change, the amount of money we're paying people to stay home. I mean, I'm hearing numbers as high as 40-odd thousand a year to stay on your couch. Why would you want to go work back in hospitality? But until all of that changes, it's going to be very fragmented.
And we stand here at all-time highs. So is this going to be, the catalyst that I think there's a lot of people kind of waiting and hoping even for a bit of a pullback here to get some money back in the market, at a little bit discounted levels from where we are currently. Is there a spot where, you start to see some stocks become more attractive again if you're looking at the overall S&P or the NASDAQ?
Yeah, right now we're at 4,448. You really have to get closer to probably 4,425, 4,400 before they start to get attractive. Personally, I think it's just a matter of time, and it's a ticking time bomb at this point. I've raised cash. I'm probably at 7 to 8% cash, the highest I've been in quite a while. It's just that nothing is exciting at levels they're at. They're either too extended or they're breaking low. SMG, for example, Miracle Grow, keeps cracking low, and I would have to say that's now the beginning of tax selling.
When we look at, it's a great point, and I think there's going to be, as we continue into the latter part of this year, more and more names that start to look similar to that. I want to get your thoughts on Tesla. We kicked things off this morning with a look at Tesla on that report of this new investigation into the autopilot system. What are your thoughts here at this point for Tesla, and is there again a level where it becomes a little more attractive for you?
Well, certainly as close to 600 as possible. Autonomous cars, whether it's going back to 2014 that they're doing these investigations, autonomous cars are not in the main fray yet. We're still in the very early innings. We're having a hard time in this country going electric car, forget about autonomous car. So for the moment, yes, there's more Teslas on the road, but on balance, the service end of Tesla is what I keep hearing complaints about.
Thanks a lot there, Mark. It's interesting. It's interesting you say that. I mean, the first time I heard about autonomous cars, I remember reading an article stating that until you have like 80% of the vehicles on the road that are autonomous, you won't have the level of safety that people are accustomed to or looking for. And you're probably right there. We do have some earnings to get to, and you made a point just now, which made me think of Walmart here going into these earnings, talking about it might not be as robust back to school. As has previously been. Now, Walmart, to its credit, going into earnings, has actually moved a little bit here, and it's not gigantic, but if you look at the cluster it's breaking from, you're still getting a good like 5 to 8 point move, depending on where you might have gotten in, and it's sort of gotten off the schneid at least a little bit. We're still, we're hanging out this 150 level. We're still hanging a little bit lower than 155, which would be that, I guess, that top resistance point. Do you have a, because I've actually thought that Walmart's a good place to sort of sit in and hide a little bit. But what are your thoughts on them performing this week? Probably going to beat. Are you expecting maybe they won't have the guidance that people are looking for? Is there a particular concern you might have that might extend into them? Or I suppose Target, of course, reports as well.
I'm still very bullish on it. I'm looking somewhere in the 170, 180 area. So I'm staying with it. I hope it dips. I want to add. Back to school is certainly a big question mark. But people have been given so much money for doing very little in this country that there's still spending power. And I think people are buying as they need. Whether that's online or otherwise. Target is the other one you continue to watch. So until they roll or Costco rolls, these are the names you want to stay in.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, and I got to ask you this, because I was surprised, and when I last looked into it, to find that Target was actually cheaper on a 4 EPS basis than Walmart. How often does that play into, Target's obviously looking stronger on the daily chart, which doesn't want to load fully up there, than a Walmart. How much does that play into how you look for your entry points? I know you're heavily based in the charts and sort of the themes there, but how often do you dip down into, especially when the market's around those highs, start thinking about how cheap something is on a relative basis, or especially when you're going two names in the same sector? Does that play into it for you?
Unfortunately, it's either left brain or right brain. I look at the chart. That's my overlying weakness. So if Target is roughly $1 or $2 off the all-time highs, I'm saying to myself, well, maybe valuation is right, but I can't buy it on a chart basis.
Fair enough. And you know what? That's why I asked, because I kind of catch myself in the middle of both of those things every now and then. And we talked a little Tesla, but I wanted to get your thoughts on Upstart, because I came in today just saying to myself, looking at the chart, if it wants to load. Actually, yeah, let's look at the daily chart. Why not? I mean, Upstart was unbelievable last week. They got the endorsement from Jim Cramer saying it was still a buy up around when it was at like 190 near the end of the week. And I was saying to myself, okay, that's going to be when it turns for sure, because you're going to get a 140 break and then like a $50 move there. It'll find a top. Now, it's not like it hasn't moved like this before. The only reason I want to look at this daily is it has had three separate moves. This is now the third, where you get a weak rally, which is completely bonkers and usually followed by a sell-off. With the market at its highs, this has got to be, first of all, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, I guess people can probably figure out I want to be shorting it today, but what are your thoughts on Upstart after the week they had last week?
I would look for somewhere in the 180, 190 area to buy it. It surprised the heck out of me. I was looking at the name down in the 130s, thinking I had plenty of time. Of course, I was wrong. And at this point, Friday's 203 was an exhaustive buy climax. So at that point, if I had guts, I would have been shorting it, but it's not the name I would normally trade on the short side. But 180, 190, I would certainly buy a 30 or 40% position to start.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it caught a lot of people off guard there, Mark, and I think it's one of those, sometimes when there's not that much that people can find for the breakouts, then, you get these ones that maybe move a little bit further than expected. Along those veins, I mean, it's mostly retail. this week that we're going to be getting for the prints. Is there something else that might be on your radar in terms of whether it has to be earnings or just maybe a name that you think could has a chance to get going here? Market feeling pretty weak to start this week. Anything that stands out for you? I mean, like you said, you got a lot of cash there. Are you just being patient, or is there something you're already interested in?
I'm being patient. I'm still looking at the Lululemons and CTAS, Cintas, and Accenture ACN in a bigger picture. I'm looking at PAVE, which is the global infrastructure. That may be rolling here, so you may want to start to look through those infrastructure names that have extended. You may be able to get a nice quick trade out of some of them on the short side. Don't forget, nothing is going to happen until late September, early October. So this exhaustive move is all emotional, and they may be short trades that one can make a lot of money.
Absolutely. You mentioned Lululemon there, hanging out, consolidating above that 400 level. That's a good one. Maybe not always a day trade, but certainly one that you've been on for a little bit here. And when people follow that advice, it tends to go well. Mark, thank you as always. Mark Roberts, Sun Lake Strategies. Best of luck this week. Can't wait to talk to you again.
Thank you very much. Good trading.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, guys, a few analyst notes to pass along, or moves, I should say, upgrades on this side. First off, Sonos on here. Both Jefferies and Morgan Stanley upgrading and increasing their price target for Sonos. So a nice look in the pre-market here. Seagate as well to the upside. Chipotle, the Honest Company, getting a couple of price target decreases this morning. Root and XL Fleet to the downside, guys.
All right, yeah, good. XL Fleet bad because I own that one. We'll check that one out. That one's had a problem at 7 for a very, very long time. We just tweeted out our sticky note as well. And one of the only longs it has on there is Sonos. And we've taken that now. So we just took a 28-cent win there, got out some at 41.60 there. Average price 41.30, so 58, sorry. We got out, so we'll watch Sonos go to the upside. I like Sonos today. I love those double upgrades. I like what they're doing there. On that front, I know they're selling a lot of the lower end speakers as well at IKEA, and then now they get the ruling about some I guess, what was it, about their speakers there, some of the technology that they've taken away, and Google apparently stole some of that technology. So now that's being talked about, and Sonos nicely done on an upgrade. Just looks like it's rocking and rolling right now. They had that breakout that I was wishing some of the other stocks would have had, where you get this coil up sort of return in the last month or two. 2 months, actually back to May, 3 months, and then a breakout there on earnings last week. So watch out for Sonos taking out the top. It's one of the best long plays that I have on the board right now on the sticky note. So we're watching Sonos as it continues to fly. We're long at 41.30 here. I'm looking at 42 and then ultimately looking to take out 43. So I like Sonos here for the long run.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's like, why is Neo long in Neo? I don't know. It keeps bouncing off of 39, so I just sort of jumped into that party there a little bit. So I just got some out for like at 39.20. Last entries were 6s and 7s. You saw the downgrade on the Honest Company there. Look, it's not to laugh at it. It's just, they were already down 28% on Friday post number, and then they catch the downgrade late to that party, I suppose, down around $10. I don't know if the volume's gonna be in this one, but wowzers, that's kind of ugly. I was thinking about maybe coming in here and shorting like a 10 level if there was any kind of volume in there, but because there is no volume, in the back of my mind, I have to say to myself, if this gets back up to 10.50, there might be an actionable rollover play and then a quick flip reverse on the off chance that this actually catches any kind of a bid. But this would have been interesting to me if we'd been above this 10 level and then holding a higher low. I was going to look to sort of smash $10 to the downside. Of course, it's going to be short sell restricted. Now that 10 is broken, if it gets back above 10.50, the key level here on the Honest Company, whose earnings, as you can obviously tell, were not that fantastic on Friday.
All right, guys, let's get into what is moving around in the pre-market. If you haven't done so already and would like the morning note, we send out every single day for you for free before we come on at 8:30. That is the link where you will find that note every single day. You just need an email address to pick that up. Let's jump into it. Actually, before we do, just wanted to mention Tencent, guys. Anyone watching Tencent Music, George Soros, their fund, completely out of TME. So under pressure a little bit here in the pre-market for Tencent. So a heads up on that. Crypto stocks, though, to watch today. As we said, Bitcoin back above 48,000 on Sunday for the first time in about 3 months. It has since pulled back, but still showing, a lot of constructive movement, I guess is a good way to put it here, guys. Pretty positive for BTC once again.
Constructive movement. I like that one. It's, you gotta find new ways of saying things. Why not? Constructive is when we actually break that 50,000. Like the question to me, for at least Bitcoin in particular, oh goodness, my SI chart is horrible, is if we actually can break through that 50,000 mark and hold above before you get a retracement in about 42. Now, if we, in the event that we don't, oh, I can't look at that. In the event that we don't, I mean, I'm in Silvergate here, and usually it's been pretty stable. In order for some of these equities to break through, in this particular case for me, like in Silvergate, like 120, if we don't get that break in the next couple of days, maybe test that 50,000 mark, then I think it's not a horrible opportunity to maybe dip out of some Silvergate, because if we pull back again and you're in resistance on an equity like this, you get like triple top, lower high consolidation. I mean, this thing will probably trim like 25%, where I mean, obviously, like crypto can trim more than that, like 40, 50% can easily happen, like those types of moves, we've seen it before. But if you're in one of these equities, just understand that if you're not gonna break a key level, when we're trying to get through that 50,000 mark again, you could see a little bit of a pullback. So this is on my radar to just take a look at Silvergate. And as usual, if we do get a run, and I'm not saying that's gonna happen today because we're kind of sideways action so far and a bit of a pullback off that 48, but SOS is usually the one on the spike, and I missed this last time. And last time we had the big spike up, and there was a shorting opportunity on SOS. I kind of wasn't into it. I waited till like day 2 to get involved in this thing, but this thing, just every single time you get a spike up, it's usually pretty much free money to catch that short. So when we hit 50,000 at some point, it's going to be SOS. I'll be looking to fade on any play that tries to break that 50,000 in spot, and we don't get through. SOS is always the one I want to go to. But I'm getting close to thinking about trimming some Silvergate when I see us fail to sort of extend in the next couple of days.
Yeah, so I was just going to look at Coinbase here because, again, like that seems to be the name. We traded it really well off of earnings on the 11th or 12th, whatever day this was, 11th, I guess. And that was a good one. Bang, bang, bang to the upside. A couple nice little $7, $8 winners there before just watching it drop the rest of the afternoon. Then you faded out again, and then we did nothing on Friday, just bounced around here. So for me, Coinbase probably continues to test lower. I mean, it's just funny because the rhetoric was that, as crypto started to go back upside here, Coinbase was supposed to go back as well. And it's come back a little bit here, but I just thought it would have been a little bit higher. Remember when Coinbase came out, that's when Bitcoin was 60 to 65,000. Now you're getting some nice levels on Bitcoin. I mean, I'm not worried at all about any of these crypto holdings. I mean, they held up really good over the weekend. We saw Cardano hold up well. That went to 220. And then look, I mean, this is what we're talking about here. It's just the bounce off 30 was super, super strong. We kept talking about that. We put out videos. Right now, Sonos 40 cents in the money. We kept putting out videos, things like that about Bitcoin at certain levels. That 30,000 held. I mean, I kept saying that we would probably see 40,000 before we even saw like 25,000, and now you're up to 47. So I think we see 60 again before we see 30. So that's pretty, hopefully that's the case, and we'll come back to the upside. So crypto just continues to go upside. Remember, there is going to be a limited supply of Bitcoin. And when they're mined, and then you'll start hearing more and more people talk about, Fed policy and money printing and this and that. So, I mean, I just think as long as that talk is there, that's great. Is there going to be eventually a correction or something in Bitcoin? Yeah, probably. We'll come back down a little bit, maybe back down to the 40,000 mark. And the big elephant in the room really is going to be Tether and how that is supported. The stable coins and things like that are going to be an issue, but I just think that more companies will start adding it on their balance sheet, let alone what Ethereum's doing. We've already talked about that with smart contracts, with some of the DeFi and some of the things that are happening over there, Zrun, NFTs, things like that. So I think that we're in a new spot for crypto, and I think you just got to buy some of these names on any dips. I mean, I don't know if Coinbase is going to be the right one for you. There's lots of names out there. There's miners, there's BTBT, there's exchanges like Coinbase, there's Silvergate. So there's lots of stocks to buy. You can also buy ETHE or GBTC here on the pink sheets. They follow almost exactly to the dollar the way the underlying is moving. So $40 coming through on GBTC could be coming today as well. A nice move to the upside. So I would just say, hold your crypto. If you think this is a big move, I would agree with you. You could take some off, but I'm looking at Coinbase right now and trying to add to that position, but more on dips, not at this spot. So let's wait to see. My view of the market this week is basically to try to get into as many high quality tech names as possible, as I hopefully they will hold some of these bottoms as I look around. Microsoft all-time highs, things like that. Facebook still 365. So good job there, and Sonos ripping up as well right now.
So things started off pretty well for PaySafe this morning in the pre-market. Was just double checking. The call was at 8:30. It started at 8:30 officially, guys, for their earnings. But PSFE down 8% now. Looks like there was a little bit of an acceleration there, possibly when the call started. But you can see we were, disregard this ugly wick here, but you can see we were up nicely initially before the report. They also announced they're picking up Safety Pay in a new acquisition, a Miami-based company, guys, private company though.
Yeah, it's too bad about PaySafe. I mean, the thing was that they didn't guide. Oh, come on, chart. They didn't guide properly, so they actually guide a little bit lower than where they were looking at for the next quarter. So that's not going to be a good sign there. Revenue increased 13%. That's okay. Net income was positive as opposed to a net loss. So that was also good. But again, it's the guide. They didn't guide quite well. I think it was it just a couple shy. I was trying to find the number there. Oh, here it is. Guidance sales 360 to 370 versus 389. Here it is. Here, I'll just show it up on here. So 383. So that's the sales. They beat on the sales. That's great. But it's all this guidance, and they just reaffirmed it. So they guide 360 versus 389. So that's lower. And then sales 1.5. Like, I can't believe it's actually a company that actually has sales. This is amazing. Versus 1.55, and they have net income now as well versus 155. So if they just would have guided a little bit higher, then I think you'd see a much different situation here for PaySafe. But yeah, down 8%. I mean, all these SPACs, man, every single one. Like Clover, you see SoFi as well starting to. Clover's in a different spot, obviously, but SoFi, virtually the same spot as PaySafe. You're down, you're cracking lower, and it just looks nasty. I mean, it's the complete opposite of what we were hoping for, right? It's the red candle breaking the bottoms to the downside there. So you can't guide and miss in this environment, and I don't think they miss, but they guide lower. That's always going to be a recipe for disaster. And honestly, I don't really see any levels here. I can go back to another daily chart. I mean, this is for me has just become a hold. I mean, there's nothing else I can do. I still believe in it. The revenues seem to be there, but right now you're dropping below its all-time low. So when it came out as BFT was 960, you're at 940 right now. So do you sell it down from here? I don't know. I think it's a little bit overdone, but I think you got to stick with the better plays today, which is going to be like the Sonos that I have. I like Neo to the short side. There we go. I mean, we just took another big win on Sonos, now 75 cents in the money. But PaySafe, guys, it's broken all levels of the downside. I think you go long if it breaks through 10 again, but you got to wait for that to happen. And I think if you're not in it, you nibble. Profits are there. They turn to profit. They just don't guide. They didn't guide properly. And I'm not sure what happened on the call, but it doesn't look very good here for PSFE moving forward. The fintech spot's bad. I have SoFi on the sticky note as well here today. We'll see what happens. We saw their report, and they were down like 15% or whatever on Friday. So this shouldn't be that much of a surprise, but it just still does suck.
And we remember SoFi was a weird one. We talked about this extensively. We talked about two things a lot in the afternoon show. SoFi just barcoding off of the low and then not going anywhere. And then the other thing was, of course, at SESN. But SoFi in particular is not in that all-time low just yet. It did have a couple of weeks ago 1470 print. And then if you go to the daily, like it has actually traded 1450. Those two levels stand out like a sore thumb. I am in this ENLV consolidating lower. That's one of the gap up plays on our watch list. But let's watch out for each of these levels. 1470 on SoFi, 1450 for me. I thought there was a decent chance that after all that buying on Friday, that SoFi would get off the schneid and maybe give a chance to break out. If we had been holding above 15, I would be looking for that breakout, but this is not the type of morning that I love that play for, guys, unfortunately. So, I'm looking at 1470 and 1450 on SoFi to the downside, although volume is not gigantic. People keep asking, it's like, Neil, why are you long? So anyways, I'm just gonna go over Neo so you guys, come on. I'm just gonna go over Neo so you guys can see what this thing has been doing all morning long, right? Like it pulls a higher low, getting here like 20 like an idiot, and then it pops down and bounces off 39. The second it bounces off 39 again, I get in. I'm actually hanging on to it, thinking it'll break back up to like 40 or 50 level, and then it comes back, bounces off 39. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So let's actually just take out 20s this time. Bounce off 39 again. Let's take it more, and then get bounced through 20s again. So I mean, NEO is one of the only things that's not a small cap that's doing volume this morning, and it's giving you scalp trades off 39 all morning long. Now, I didn't capitalize on it nearly as much as you probably could have, but it's been a good long off of 39 every single time, and until it isn't, might as well rinse and repeat that action. So NIO, sometimes barcoding can be your friend. There's not that much volume and volatility overall in the pre-market today relative to others, so sometimes that does mean you can adjust and do a little bit of scalping in the morning.
Let's bring in Arun here, have a look at the overall market and understand a little bit about what we need to be aware of on the futures today. Brand new week, Arun, but a little more negative feeling to start things off today.
Yeah, a little bit more negative, also a little bit more action. So potentially today could be a day where we can actually make a trade and make some money because the market looks, at least in the pre-market, looks like the range is slightly wider than it's been typically. So far, we've got a 20-something point range, which is much larger than we've seen last week. So what I've got up top is 44.65 is the level I'm going to work with up top. If we can get above 50 and start to set up, then I'd like to take a shot at the short side. You can't deny the fact that the market's been strong. You can't also deny the fact that every time we've sold off, we've been bought. So I do have to be aware of that potential, but I am looking for the short side. If we can set it up above 44.50, then I'd like to take a shot at the short, just because to the downside, I don't have a whole lot of levels, which tells me that the way I've been looking at the market tells me that we're wide open to the downside if we actually decide to go. So I'm trying to capitalize on that move if we can actually get it. If today's the day we go, I'd like to be a part of that if I can get that set up. Now, it does have to set up, though. It has to be set up and it also has to be above 44.50 when it does it. That is crucial for me just to control the risk. So 15-point risk maximum for me. If we break the 44.65, then we're right back to the top. We're right back to the long side move, and it's another extension play. So if we break 44.65 after we've set up something on the short side, clearly you're going to lose on the short and you're going to flip to the long. But then you got to figure out what the level is going to be to the long side. I mean, the stop, right? If you go on the long at 44.65, where do you put your stop? That all depends on how we trade and how we break out. For now, though, I've just got that one marker up top, 44.65, and hopefully we can get a short just above 44.50.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning. Let's continue along here. Tesla next up on the list this morning. As we said, the Highway Traffic Safety Administration announcing a new investigation into Tesla's autopilot and collisions related to that between 2014 and 2021. So Tesla under pressure here, guys.
A little bit about Tesla earlier, and I mean, I think that this is going to be bad for a little bit, but probably calm down after that. I mean, it's just going to be an investigation. Look, we know self-driving is going to be a little bit of a problem, these autopilots, and now there's, you know, an accident that they're going to be looking at, all of them from 2014 to 2021, covering all models. So we'll just see. I mean, look, positive news could come out of this, so we'll wait to see what happens. I just think that right now you get a little bit of a tip down in the market. We're talking about the market here as well, down 0.32. So obviously Tesla's going to be a little bit more than that with some negative news. It's never great when sort of, you know, any authority is looking into any of your practices. So I don't think that's going to be a good sign here for Tesla. So we'll wait to see. I think you're going to have an opportunity at some point this week to pick this up in the 670 area, somewhere around here probably on a dip buy. So I would rather wait for that than buy weakness today. But we could be completely wrong here once again, and we'll find out what happens with Tesla, because all you need to do is sort of just take out the 710, 715 area, and you're right back to where you were on Friday, and then therefore this story is nothing, and Tesla can continue its way back to the upside. So we've already made a nice bottom at 600. We've talked about that over and over again. I think there's going to be a lot of FOMO on this trade. People didn't pick this up, I guess, below 600 when they maybe should have, when it was sort of, you know, bottoming out here, I believe, at these levels, and now you're starting to move to the upside. Tick, tick, tick. We'll see where it goes from here as Bitcoin goes up. Remember, they're holding some of that also on their balance sheet. I don't think it's going to matter for them, but that's a nice look there, and you know, there's more to come for Tesla. So I'm not worried about them for today, though. I do worry that this 700 may get tested again. I don't think this is necessarily horrible news, but it's never great news when you get your operations looked at a little more closely. So I am for now going to stay away from Tesla, but I don't mind it at 700, and I think a buy down here if we get anywhere near the 50 period, which is 660, seems to be something that would be reasonable from my side of things.
Yeah, I mean, it's bouncing. It's range bound this morning, just like NEO is. I mean, it's not exactly 700, but it's close enough. If it does get up, if Tesla gets up to like that 720, 725 today, I think that's hardcore resistance up there, and you've seen it on the 15-minute chart. So, it's just one of those. I mean, the daily chart's going to show you that same story. It's just one of those. If it has enough strength, it's probably going to be an opportunity for a lot of people to take some profit off, and that 697 is going to stand out like a sore thumb. I do want to jump over to another name though. And rightfully so. I saw some people in the chat talking about this TVTX up at like $21 now. So this was interesting because this was actually hanging out down this like $18 cluster after gapping up this morning. And then volume came in a little bit later, maybe like a half an hour or so ago. I thought this was gonna be one of those like lazy rollovers. I'll play it into a pop at 9:30, maybe into 19.25, and then it's gotten a second win here. So TVTX, probably add that to your runner list here today because this one looks like it's one of the strongest of the bunch. And one of the reasons I liked it for the rollover was I was just kind of looking back at like this, okay, if it failed earlier in the session around that 20 to 21 area and then was coming down off of this, that made some sense to me. And then really the cluster higher is another at least 10% up from here. So TVTX, one of the big time volume leaders that's actually holding some and pressing towards some highs and showing some strength here today, definitely should be on your radar to trade.
Yeah, there's positive data on a kidney disorder treatment that company was working on. So that was the catalyst there. Let's talk NEO, guys, NIO. Another day, another downward move here, big time, 4+%. Although holding this 39 level, which on the daily chart is pretty significant. We mentioned there was unfortunate death the past couple of days over in China involving their autonomous driving system. So that was being looked into. And then obviously coming off of that report, earnings last week, that was also a bit of a negative for them.
Yeah, when it rains, it pours, right? Now, you've already had a multi-day move into that recent support, call it that 38.50 to 39 area. That's, of course, on the daily chart. Then you come right back. Let's look at the last couple of weeks. You basically made a roundabout wave, pretty much straight up, straight down. It's a pretty clean-looking chart when you think about the 15 here, to 38.50, all the way back in, and we haven't gotten to those lows. It actually bounced a little bit shy of it. That's the reason why this, sort of bouncing off this 39 long has worked out a few times here for me in the pre-market. It's just finding a bit of a support level, and the volume is going to be pretty good. If this thing prints through, if NEO prints through 38.50 today, it's probably going to turn into a bit of a, it's either going to be a wipeout fake bottom, or it's going to, probably give you a couple of points to the downside off that 38.50 level. It's certainly a key one. We're already down that 4.5%, and I kind of feel, given the way that this has been mostly a sideways feeling morning, I wanted to play this one off of that level till it breaks. So if 39 goes, I'm just out. It's that simple. If we end up getting up to $40, guys, I think 40 would be a place where I might do a bit of a, just like a tester short in front of that obvious like round number level if it does pop to the upside. So far, it has been unable to sustain through 39.50, and as long as that's the case, it'll be only a scalp trade for me. The entire space, you can look at Li Auto and XPeng. I know they're moving sort of in concert with NEO here, but nah, this will be the one to trade because you got to be in August. You've got to be trading where the volume is, and if they're all going to move, you might as well be looking at NEO because that's going to give you the liquidity and scalability. Li Auto and XPeng usually a little bit more dirty because for me the liquidity is not the same.
Sean, thoughts on NIO for today?
Sure, down. Yeah, I don't like NEO today at all. Again, most of this, oh come on, not .NF. Most of this will result in just the fact that I believe the market probably tumbles a little bit today. So, it's near its lows. They didn't have a great report. I know you guys talked about that, and now there's some look at as well at some of their issues maybe with the autopilot and things like that, right? So, I don't know. You're bouncing right off here, 39 and change. You're down that 4% already. You can see from their daily chart that we're right near some breaking spots. So I think that just with everything that's happening in China, we've already talked about BABA. I mean, you can look at JD as well here. Let's just have a quick look before I say anything. On JD, a lot of these names starting to come to the downside. So even today, 39, it's trying to break lower. That's still Neil, come on. It's starting to break lower as well through 67. So here we go. This is what I'm talking about, like big dip downs today, right? So JD down 3.5% as well. Alibaba down today. So it's just one of those things where I think the Chinese names are going to get beat down. Actually, Bob only down 2, which isn't bad. They're going to get beat down a little bit. There's a lot of pressures globally right now, and I just don't think that people want their money in these Chinese names. So again, if Tesla is going to be down, then I believe NIO is going to be down to some extent. Is the 4% a little bit too much? Maybe, and that's what we're going to watch. So we're just going to watch 39. I mean, I'm not in it, but I do want to put on a position when it does break that. So we'll see where we go from there. I put it on the sticky note. I put it on everything today. That's why here there's only 4 names on the sticky note. I talked about Sonos and why we like that, and that we're trying to get very, very specific and not get into too many names. You'll probably see me trade 3 or 4 names today. I do want NIO to be one of those, and we'll just watch out for some of these highs. I mean, if we break through 39.50 or 39.40, even the high of 39.60, that's great. I do want to fade it a little bit if we get up here. So look, I'm going to be negative on this name. If it doesn't break 39, then I don't have to worry about it, and I'm not in. But I do want a 39 break. So this is not a call to say get out of your position or anything like that. Not that I don't think NIO's cratering or anything. I don't think that at all. I think we're actually near some spots where you may want to buy this name, NIO. It's down in here, 35, 36. You get down there, I think this is going to be worth a buy again, because last time it was here, we were all like, what the heck? We missed a huge run up. So this name does have a great opportunity to bounce. There's no doubt about that. But when we come to 39, I definitely want to be short. And I think when we crack that, we probably test 38.50. So for me, it's a 50-cent win, and we'll see if that can come through for sure. For long terms and stuff like that, I like it. Just like I like PaySafe for long term as well. But for today, I think we got to stay away.
Let's talk about Palantir. Another day, another collaboration, another government collaboration for Palantir. Not terribly exciting as far as price action in the pre-market here. We are still holding kind of within Friday's range. Top end of the range, though, on the daily chart, guys. So overall, still a positive-looking daily chart for Palantir.
Yeah, I mean, again, I wrote the same thing down again for Palantir that I did for NIO and for everything basically here. So Palantir right now is looking fine. If you look at a 20-minute chart, yeah, so the day chart looks fine. We busted up. That's exactly the candle that we were looking for. We talked about that. And I even said when this happened that, if we got here, 27.28, I think that was incredible. That's obviously going to be the next burn spot there for people, for shorts to get squeezed out a little bit. Once it hits that 28, then we probably test 30. But for right now, you're coming back in, and this is what I wanted to show everybody. Look at the 20-minute. This is what happened on Friday, man. It wasn't much. So, you bounced around pretty heavily on Friday. You bounced around after the report came on Thursday. So it's just been like, after the report came out, forget about this move up. We had this, we crushed it on that day. But what's been happening to Palantir, and it's been some of the trades of the day recently, is that it makes a big move down and then it retraces back up. So that's sort of what we're going to look for. The bottoms here are 24.60, 24.50. I mean, I may wait out for some of these bottoms as well, 24.40. So we're a little ways away. But the important thing is, this is just barcoding back and forth. So $25 a break upside might be worth a couple pennies, maybe 15, 20 pennies at most, I'm thinking there. And the same thing on the breakdown. The only problem is we're right near this 50-period moving average. A break back down below here does serve a little bit of trouble, especially if I do think the market's going to be in trouble today. I'm very, very careful with it. You're not going to see that much here, but I said, break down if the market falls. So I'm not, not trading my own book here. I'm long Palantir and like it, but hey, we know what happens to Palantir when the NASDAQ breaks down, right? And it will fall down. Here's Palantir, a little bit of a long after. And look at these moves, man. Bang, this is Friday. This is what I'm talking about. Long early, like I'd already be long now. Average in, average in, average in, average in. Get stopped out of half, then just get pissed off, blast this thing to the long side, make all your money back. Am I lucky enough to have my trades here? Look at this. This is the day before. So this is 2 days in a row where I absolutely traded Palantir a hell of a lot and extremely heavy in the morning, and the same thing happened again. Long in the pre-market, long, get stopped out. Now, I never get out of everything. That's never the case for me, especially on Palantir, especially at key levels. So we get out here worried that it's gonna crack, and then banged it out to the upside again, taking triple the shares and hammered it. So today we're gonna try to do the same thing. Palantir comes down 24.60, 24.50. We'll see if we can get long in front of 24, then hammer it to the upside. But I'm not super excited about Palantir today.
Speaking of stocks that might break down, I want to get back. We talked about this with Mark Roberts there, and I kind of mentioned Upstart. It has a 196 pre-market bottom here, which has been holding. And I'm not saying it's like an iceberg order or anything crazy, because the volume at 100,000 is decent for this stock, but not exactly tremendous. But I'm looking 196 break. Now, normally the way I would play this, if I wanted to be on the short side, is like look for a bit of a pop. And you guys kind of probably know this. Like, look for a bit of a pop. If the turn comes at like 198, 199, be willing to make that play, or at that 200 level. But I might play it in both ways here. If I catch a breakdown at 196, I'll do that. If it makes a pop to the upside, I'll play that off these 200 levels as well. And then you have that 202 top. There's just lots of ways I think that this could do a reversal. It was so ridiculously strong last week. I just feel like there's going to be some profit taking on Upstart. And I know it was a good trade off 200 if I just only waited for that 200 level instead of digging in at like 198 once, but the 200 was pretty good. Let's see if we can't do the rollover trade on Upstart this morning. Could be heading southbound today after such a great week last week.
Another one with a very impressive looking daily chart, guys. Sonos in shouting distance here of all-time highs this morning, both Morgan Stanley and Jefferies with upgrades and price target increases for Sonos. It's 44, I just checked, 73, 44.73, what we have as all-time highs here for SONO, up 11% this morning.
Yeah. I mean, this is the only name that I was super excited about. It's the only name that I'm in right now. I have some bids lower on all these names that Neil and I have talked about so far today, and some of the ideas that I have, but I only have 1, 2, 3, 4. I only have 4 names written on here today. It's SoFi, it's Palantir, it's Neo, and now it's Sono. Other than that, I have absolutely nothing else. So it's Sonos, but the symbol is Sono. And look, again, the double upgrade, thank you very much. We'll buy all these dips. Thank you very much again. So we hit this. Now we're $1.10 in the money, and we're cruising. We're already at almost a daily goal here just on this one name. I do want to trade a little bit lighter, though, so it's not going to be a huge trade. We're going to watch through 43. I might not even take a 43 break. I mean, I may just roll with what we have right now. 41.20s long, see how high we can go up on this name. Any sort of pullbacks in, I'm all over that. Hopefully that will happen, and we'll be able to buy some at a little bit of a lower price. But like you mentioned, though, Brendan, we are busting out. We're at all-time highs right now, and we'll see if we can take this out at 44.50, 44.60. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's around here, 44. That's probably a pre-market high, 44.79. So we'll see if it can crack that today. I mean, I'm already long. Hey, I'll take a $3 winner if it gets up there. I don't know about punching any more, though, again, because I am a little bit nervous about the market today. So punching longs into this market, I don't know. If it gets going great and the market rallies and it's led by big tech, then we'll take some Sonos. But again, back into this area would be pretty sweet, man. 41.50. We get any longs back in there off open, then we're going to be hammering that one for sure. I want to keep my eye on Sonos all day. Here's a quick look. This is a NASDAQ name, so it's not going to be on here and for another 4, 5, 6 minutes or so, 9:28. But right now, CCL, I did want to talk about some of the travel names. We'll do that when we're through our list. But right now, Dash. Before we go, I know that Neil wants to do, or maybe, I don't know, maybe not, but we'll check out POWW here because we did get a super chat from you, Dan, and I don't want to ignore this, especially from a guy like Dan who's been part of our team for a very, very long time. So I don't know a whole hell of a lot. I mean, this is not a major company for me. Ammo Inc. So POW, great name for that one. But, you know, $7, $8, I mean, there's obviously not that much volume coming into it today, but 46,000 maybe is not too bad. I don't even know what the average daily volume is. But again, looking at this without knowing much about anything that they do, I assume it says the company is Ammo Inc. So I don't know. I don't want to say that, you know, with what's happening in this world, this may be a good play, but I don't know much about them. If I'm just going to do a quick scan of the chart, Dan, we're below the 50-period moving average or almost right at it, so that's kind of a good thing. If they beat, I do see that we could go back to the upside here, but again, without knowing too much about it, I mean, this is, I guess this is is it a recent SPAC, Dan? Because if it is, man, then I'm not really favoring any of these longs. So I would just very, very much watch out. I don't think I'd get into any of these names ahead of earnings. I'd rather wait and see, because just like PaySafe's like, oh yeah, everything's cool, right? And all of a sudden they spend that $440 million on safety net, or whatever the heck that was called, safety pay, and then they get hammered today because they spend their cash, right, to try to get better. So I don't really know how to react on some of these recent SPACs and some of these recent IPOs before earnings. SoFi has been horrible. Clover was great. Open Door was great. So, I mean, I would say just hold tight on that POWW, and we'll wait to see where it goes. Always on these plays, I'm learning, just like Fisker, just like all these plays, like, watch to see what happens after the fact. Don't try to predict what's going to happen, especially with some serious cash. So I would always wait. Just like today, I think PaySafe, you need to pile into it a little bit more today. So I'll probably do that, because again, that 440 million's coming off, and we'll see what happens here with PaySafe. But POWW, thank you for the super chat, the $5 there. Hopefully that worked a little bit for you. And Dan, I would just stay light if you're already in it, and watch what happens on earnings. You can always get in on the pre-market.
It looks pretty bullish to me. I mean, look, it's got a double top at 1050 here. You can sort of see the 2 wicks on the daily chart there. And then you've had subsequent higher lows on the way into that second high, and then coming out of it. So you got a great support here, like at 670. It's a wide range, admittedly, but that wide range also gives you some cover for an upside break, which would be pretty solid there. So look, if you get anywhere near that recent high, a breakout like at 770, 775 here, gives you a nice lower high, higher low, I suppose, that can be your support level into that previous high. I told you guys I would get out of NEO when it got to that 39.50 level. So everyone's like, why is NEO long? Why is NEO long? I mean, sometimes, like I said, if it's just support at 39 in the pre-market and a higher low, and we're going to barcode in here, you're going to be able to take advantage of opportunities like this. Now, it breaks that 39.5. It means that trying to right now, there could be that 40 level that comes into play. I would definitely look for that for like a 930, jump in, sell in front of $40 on NIO if it gets there. I didn't think 39.50 would even break in the pre-market. I thought this could be the rollover point, but it's breaking through now, so NEO long is going to work out. I was never holding through 39.50, as I mentioned. I'm going to be looking at that 40 level at 930.
All right, a couple of small ones. Bottom end of the list, guys, there's a few biotech therapeutics moving around this morning. I also noticed Moderna, very negative again today. They got an orphan drug status from the FDA today, which you would think would be positive, but continuing its sell-off. But I want to talk about context logic here. If you go back to Friday, there's 760 and then 780 was the high. We're gapping down this morning, but remember there was that big reversal on Friday after earnings were very, very bad for context logic. So watch for 760, 780. If it breaks to the downside, some support around 670, 680, guys.
Yeah, 670, 680, yeah, 680 there for sure. I mean, that was, I don't know if my chart will load some of the trades that I made on context. Yeah, there it is. So we were just short all day on Friday, bang, 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 bang. Just one of those names where, again, we were looking at that. We took some shorts. We were actually able to make some money because the short worked out early, like Brendan was just mentioning, and then got burned a little bit here. We're able to take some more out, just piecing things out here. Took a short rate into the close and was able to make like 10 cents or not even. And then now, we'll see what it does. I like those levels that Brendan was talking about. This 670, I mean, how much better can this look right here? But again, like recent IPO names, it doesn't even matter how recent. I'm talking like within the last 2 years, it seems like a lot of these names are going to get hard to get out of their way. So we'll watch Contact Logic today. I like that 670. That's definitely a good spot. I mean, we bounced off there all day on Friday, early in the pre-market as well, and then rate again at 9, and then rate again when the market opened, that 670. So we're a little ways away from that. I don't know if we get to there, but looking at some of the damage that I did to myself, I guess, on Friday, yeah, a 790 or 785 break on this looks to be pretty strong because you do have some holds here around 740, 750. So I think at most it's like a 40, 50 cent worth of risk there on Context Logic with only 2 minutes to go though, guys.
Yeah, just 2 minutes, and we'll get to Sesson Bio. Look, they got their bladder cancer treatment declined by the FDA, and that was the result of, whoops, I should show you this, that gap down. It was bonkers. I'd never seen anything like it. Like I said, 86 cents. And then it stalled out right here at the top at like $2.11, opened back up after market and was holding at 165. 165 keep that one, file that number away. I know we had a breakdown here at 170. I'm looking 165 off the open. If it pops in here, we actually have free shorts on this thing. It's done 17 million shares in volume. But if it pops into 165, I want to play a bit of a short trade off of that level. The long was just so far so fast. I've never seen a stock that looked like it was going to open at 2 to 250 based on the book and then open at 86 cents. So that's why I was sort of like, just get long if you can. Now I'm kind of thinking the other end of that trade. If it cannot get past the 65 area at 930, could be due for a bit of a rollover. Looks like I probably should have just shorted at 39.50 on NIO instead of saying I'll wait till 40. But it is what it is. Like I always say, that ENLV, which is bottom of the list here in the pre-market, bottom of the list on our watch list, I should say. But there was this $12 range. It was a lower high. I wish I had it at $12.50. It then bounced back up here. Took some out here at $11.79. It bounced back up, tried to test through 12 again, and then failed. When it did that, I got some more shares here at about the same price, so $12.03 to the short side on ENLV. If this breaks through like a $12.25, I'll be looking all the way back to $12.50 to $12.80 for a 930 pop. So that's the short side of ENLV. Miss V's on the bell. We're going to need the help, I think, today to get it green, but she is in the right attire for this morning, at least anyways, to try to get us to the Greensville. Let's drop that countdown. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and get the party started.
All right, so thank you, Ms. V. We are now open. We are now short. We took a short here on NIO. We'll see how far this one wants to blast up to the upside or not. Sonos trying to get open as well. There goes NIO right now, short 49s. It's all the way down to 39 and change. So a nice little 30-cent win here for NIO. Let's see if we can keep going, though. We're not out, so it doesn't matter. 39, low 39s. Let's go, NIO. Nice little trade here, short 49s already.
Yeah, absolutely. And watch that ENLV already down here at 1180s again. So we'll take that 12 into 1180. I did get that upstart. Oops, I just accidentally got long. That's got that upstart here at 199.50. So the rollover trade is on in upstart. We talked about it at that 200 level. So I am now short. Waited for it to open up. We get that 199 level.
Yeah, and here we go again, guys. Doing some damage here for sure with NIO, guys. So nice little short. Look at these shorts that we put on right here off the open. We told you this is what we wanted. 39.42, 39.55. We hit it. And there's the tag to the downside. Bang! Let's go for NIO right now. Good idea there on the short. So here comes the downside, shorting through 38, 39. We'll see where we go from here. But now NIO, 17 cents in the money, but we still hammered it from 39.60, guys. Big time winner, 70 cents. So there you go. See, you don't have to get in early on the pre-market, but we did take that dip downside, and now let's go. One idea is working out pretty good here, NIO.
Got about like a, I don't know, like quick little dollar winner on upstart, but I kind of want a little bit more than that. If it falls down into like 197.20 or so, then I'll take that 2 to 2.5 winner on upstart. We do think that today could be the day, so I want to be at least a little bit nimble, want to work into that trade, make sure we hang on to enough of it. At ENLV, covered way too many shares and end up in the long, which I don't want, so I'm just going to go ahead and cover that. But I do want to get over to, if I can, that, oh my goodness, that SCSN. It is like a scalper's dream here, but it pops into 165. I didn't take it. If it goes there a second time, I won't let it go past.
Yep, NIO told ya to you guys there. We'll tweet that out as here goes NIO, man. What a big win there. Those of you guys that were talking about that in the pre-market, good for NIO scalping that off, but then there the market opens up, man, and now it's just see ya later, alligator, as my kids would say, and it's just to the downside right now. NIO just crumbling, and man, what a big trade that is. Hot dogs for everybody now. Wow, this is $1 now in the money here. Let's take some more out on NIO. What a great trade. Just continues to make moves to the downside. 38.40, 38.50, guys. This is what we're talking about. This is why you're here. Trying to get these plays hopefully for you. We'll see where we go from here though, but NIO just crashed shitty. Look at these shorts. 39.40, 39.60, 39 even to the downside. Now you're at 38.50. We just cashed them out. 38.52. We're getting lighter on it. We told you guys that we'll hit some stocks hard off the open, and then we'll wait and see where we go from here. But nice little move downside on NIO, man, capturing that dollar winner. Sonos bouncing around right back downside. We just got another piece long at 41.50, got some out at 41.85. Now let's see where we go from here with Sonos. I like this trade. I like everything we're doing today, guys.
And SCSN already starting to come back in. We couldn't get 165, had to pay down. When it rolls over, that's when I try to get on the way in. 155, It did have a bit of a bid right before we opened at 147, so I just covered some at 147. 130 does stand out, so I'm going to make sure I have some bids all the way down into that 130 level, just in case the stock, look, it's done too much volume to think that it's not going to have a bit of a support level down there. So I want to make sure I have bids on the way in. It's only a $1 name, guys, so definitely it's not going to have like $2 movements like it had on Friday. I expect this to have a much, much tighter range, so more scalp trading in SESN as we do go around. And of course, we talked a little bit about Tesla. Tesla does approach that 700 and bounce. At least for now, it has not taken out that 697 bottom. At this point, I'll probably just short a pop if I can catch it somewhere around that 705 to 706. But that'd be a hard stop at like 707.50, guys. And then I am still in that upstart. Got a 199.60. It's right back at about 200. So it's been teetering like a buck out of the money, a buck in the money, until that thing starts moving $2.50, $3. That's when you start to really think about taking those winners.
Okay, so we could be, yeah, exactly. We could be wrong here on Sonos. So there's no doubt about that. We've cashed out a decent spot of that already, but it is coming back in to some of these levels of concern for me. Once again, into here, man, 40 even. I mean, I don't think we're there yet. We're only at 41 and change. There, we take another bid there at 41.20. So our average price is 33. I mean, we're out of the money right now, a dime. So it's not that bad. But down here to 40.50, 40.50 and change coming through on Sonos. If it breaks 40 is where we're going to be wrong. So I'm going to average into this play, just like we did on SoFi on Friday, and then it sort of stopped moving and started barcoding around. So we'll see if that's going to work or not. NEO still coming to the downside. We did cash some out there at that 38.50. It's always nice when all of your outs are above your ends, so or below in this situation. So that's going to be a good one. So just looking at Sonos, guys, that just talked about that 40.50 area. We'll put some more shares in right here, and then if we're going to be wrong, man, it's going to be this 40 break to the downside. So unfortunately, this one will crush us here if it does go to the downside. But hey, we've been doing pretty good. It just needs to start to bounce now. That's Sonos coming back in here for us.
Yeah, and here comes this TVTX. Now this flushed a little bit off at the open through that 21 or through that 20 level, and now trying to retest those highs. You have a 21.50 top. Almost to the penny. So I'm going to try and roll over into this one in front of that 21.50. TVTX, a late addition for us, guys, to the list. But I just got in here at 20.82. 21.50 is going to be my hard stop, guys. And then we'll see if we can't get this one back into the downside. But a big time mover, and the volume pretty good. I don't see anything else that's moving quite as much as this. Obviously the EV makers, but this TVTX can't ignore.
Brendan, what's up, bud?
Flora Growth, guys, one that's been a big mover over the past couple of weeks, in fact. FLGC, 15% again today. Just went 17 to almost 20 here. All-time highs again today for FLGC.
Yeah, that was floral growth. We talked about that on Friday, but we'll hit the money right now because we just did take it off. I think it's behind that monitor there, Rob, my iPad there, so I can hear you guys. Yeah, so there it is right there, Sonos. We did pick up a nice little bid there at 40.80. It came right back in, but look at that. We were able to get out here 41.20, 41.30, so that's back to a 50-cent win. You can see my average price now, so that's how you know that we're using some decent shares down here. These are levels that we like, man. I mean, I hope it holds. It doesn't look like it wants to. Like, the market's actually moving upside, and the name that I like for the long side is actually going downside. So we'll wait to see here if that can make some magic happen with Sonos. We are hella long right now at 40.90. I think it's the biggest position now so far for me today. So let's go with Sonos, hopefully.
I am going to hit this one. There we go, we'll drop it in there, and every now we did that rollover trade, and it works out rather nicely. TVTX, able to get some shares here, added to it right at 21, and then it goes right back into that 20 level. So look, it was a failed breakdown at 20, so if it bounces off 20, it's not going to surprise me a ton. I'll take the quick 70-cent winner, and then if it rolls further over, look, I'm looking back at 19.25 into that 19.75 area, guys, and then we'll see if we can't get an even bigger winner on TVTX, playing it to the short side, simply because, look, that was where the sellers came in at 9.30. It then retested the high, put in a lower high. You know I'm going to take that short every single time on TVTX.
Yep, TVTX, let's go. And let's go with Sonos right now. It's only 18 cents in the money, but it's big shares. And then NEO right now starting to crash again. It went down to 38.50. So I think we got to be a little more diligent there and get some out if that does happen one more time. So let's just be very, very careful with what we're dreaming about here with NEO. That may have just, we don't need to be super greedy is sort of what I'm getting at here with this name. We'll watch it. It did touch that 38.50. And if you remember, if you hit the rewind button there, you'll see I talked about that 38.50 and why we like that level, right? So let's, we got a piece out there. We should have got more out. We'll wait to see where that goes for us with NIO. But right now, Sonos there is some size there. We'll see if it can bounce to the upside, man. I'm hella long right now, and I like it. We'll see if it can continue to work. That's Sonos.
Thank you, Vader is the Force. I will have a quick look at LELYM, I should say. But take a look at SoFi. Look, admittedly, really missed this one. Talk about a bounce up to the pre-market highs and then a fail. Oh my goodness, look at that turn here, guys. Obviously, look, I'm in enough stocks at once, and they're all to the short side. So it's not like for lack of trying, we're not getting some of these nice winners in here. But SoFi looking like it's poo-pooing itself as 1450. That low that we talked about has already been touched once. It has bounced. If it takes that level out, I mean, it could get pretty ugly here on SoFi. I still want to go back over to that. SESN, I think you probably have to be a little more active than I'm being with it. Because of the number of positions that I'm in, I do want to short it again if it goes up to 155, 160. But I'm definitely going to have to take, I think, more exits and then more profit taking inside of like that 10 to 15 cent range than outside of it. Because you can see it's not barcoding, but this might not have the monster range that you're expecting today.
Okay, yeah, exactly. And I don't think things will have too much range today, but we'll see where it goes from here. But NEO, we are sitting on that bid again. Ooh, that time it only goes to 65. Believe it or not, guys, we were waiting at 62. Yeah, I don't know if you're...
I think we got Brendan.
I don't know. The thing's not working. We'll go to Brendan.
Yeah, ENLV, guys, halts upside here. So it did end up holding 1150 as support there. Monster buy volume came in, drove it all the way up to 13. So halted upside for ENLV.
We're in the money now, 50 cents on a lot of shares here for Sonos. So, I mean, this is what we talked about, trying to defend levels, trying to trade the best names that we could find. And that's given us a $1 win on NEO so far today. And then right now, a monster win here for Sonos. So we'll fire these hot dogs off, man. I just hope you guys are enjoying this trade with me as well. It's been a big one here for SONO as it still continues to go upside now. Just cashed them out right there as it touches that VWAP. So that's a big out for me right there, 41.40. We'll put some more shares out here. We got to capture some profits. I mean, I still think it can go. So maybe we're getting a little prematurely. Bang! Yes, sir. That is Sonos. Spin the money tree right now because here we go right to the upside. A nice trade for me on Sonos. Again, it's very, very back and forth. Like these spreads on this is crazy and the moves it can have. So I got to layer some orders on the upside. We just took another piece out there. This is 70 cents in the money on decent shares, guys. So pretty happy with this Sonos trade right now.
And just a quick look, the ELYM, I'm watching it. It's done 56,000 shares. So that is an absolute no-fly zone, by the way, guys. Like, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, even with a halt. This TVTX is, like, right on my bid here. Let's see if I can move up and maybe get some out a little bit more aggressively because it's stalling out. It's barcoding right around this 1950 level. So I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth here. And then watch out Upstart, which my stop didn't work. So my stop does not trigger me through 202. By the time I'm able to get to it, it goes through like 210. So that one continues to run to the upside. I mean, Mark was just saying wait for a pullback. It continues to run and run and run Upstart. You can't seem to get out of the way of this thing. If we get another chance at TVTX, I don't think I'll wait for it to fail at 2130. I'd probably jump in front of 21 guys. And then look out for NEO starting to come a little bit back to the upside. Now, I still only like adding to a short position if it is that 40 level. I was long into 39.50. I told you guys I'd get out at 39.50, then roll over at 9.30. There was a 39 break. It is now essentially, I don't want to call it barcoding, but look at the wedge that it's forming right here at 39. Like that could be at least a little bit of a break into 39.50. So if you're holding a short and it's a majority of your shares, not a horrible idea to take some profits. That would make a heck of a lot of sense to me. As Brendan mentioned, that ENLV, I keep thinking UNLV for some reason. I got out of that one by the skin of my teeth. It is now halted to the upside. I will 100% be involved in this one when it opens. It's right in front of pre-market highs here at 13.15. So if it fails to break that, it's always going to be a short in front of it for me. It should be open in about 50 seconds or so, as long as it's a 5-minute halt. If it's a 10-minute halt, then of course it'll be 5 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we're getting, I mean, we've already emptied out a decent amount of this Sonos on the upside. Like you guys heard me talk about the amount of shares that we had and so on and so forth. So that Sonos is getting out right now. We can have a look at some of these other names here. Palantir, Palantir down to that 24.50. I don't know if it went any lower than that. We can double check it right now. No, it is at its lows right here. So I don't know. I mean, we talked about it coming back down to 24.50. This is a decent spot here. Would like the market to go. We have Sonos going as well right now back to the upside. We have Neo just cruising around for a bruising right now. And here this comes trying to break through that 24.50 now on Palantir. This may be worth a spot. I just am a little bit negative on the market. So that's why I'm not like in love with pounding this thing to the long right now. But we just did resist that 24.50. So that's not a bad spot. I don't want to start yet on Palantir, to be honest with you. We talked about this right here, PLTR. Let's have a look at the 20-minute again, just to show you guys what we're talking about. I still think that there's a breakdown coming here. It barcoded too much off earnings, and so I think that there is a little bit of a breakdown coming. We may want to short this thing now into that 65. So we'll wait. We'll wait. I don't want to do anything on Palantir yet. I know that's not like anything crazy, but I want to wait on Palantir and give this one a little bit more time. Pfizer does make an all-time high today, again at 48.57, but we can check out Moderna now. We lost on this one on Friday. Wow, 360 right now, so this one's in big-time trouble. Is mRNA to the downside, just down another 8% and still cracking, so watch out for some Moderna lows, guys. I don't know where to get in on this one. I thought 380 should have held there last week right in this area. It didn't. Now we're coming back into some more consolidation. Let's test out that 350, guys. Just watch out below here for anybody short or long Moderna.
And we'll go gates of hell action for ENLV. Of course, we talked about that reload. We talk about that post-halt trade. It tries to take out, exactly what we said, tries to take out that 1320 high in the reopen, gets back below that 13, I mean, it was like 1296 that it halted. The second it's below that price, I'm shorting here at 91s. Just got some out in front of VWAP, still holding on to half the position or just a little bit more than that. And if we get a pop down into 12 to 1225, that's where I'd like to be able to take out the rest. I'd probably actually hold on to maybe 10 to 20% of it, just in case we actually have top on this for the day. You want to make sure you have that opportunity when you get the home run to see and follow through on that one. TVTX, by the way, this one did roll over. So like I talked about, it was barcoding here. I get more aggressive, taking some out at 1980 instead of waiting for 1950. It's now broken that 50 level, breaking down towards 1925. I think there's a chance we can get down into this 18 level where there was obviously support on TVTX. Now, I know it's only, it's a $19 stock, but you have to think in terms of $2, $3, $4 movements. That's how much this has already come in the pre-market. It doesn't mean it has to slow down here, guys. It kind of feels like it could put in a $3 range just in, the first like half an hour to 45 minutes worth of trade. That's what I'm hoping for, at least to the downside. Miss V is at the big screen.
Kill him.
What do you got for us?
Hey guys, traders on the chat talk about nano vibronics. Could you guys make a quick look at NAOV for us?
So nanovibronics,
you're talking about
this is one that we were actually looking at, and I'm not kicking myself over it, but at the end of the day, there weren't too many things that were looking super, out of this world strong in the pre-market. But remember, this traded last week and had like a 350 and a $4 level that we're paying attention to. Now it's actually broken the high, that 340. It goes right into that 350 level. This is what I would have been waiting for, but what was I just basically trading in? The LV post-halt trade. So at the same time when NAOV is making that run up to that 350 and rolling over, that's when the other short that came in. And I love that halt trade too much. I think they're fantastic opportunities. That's why I jump over there. You're getting a second test of NAOV. Because I don't get this trade, I have to wait. It's still strong. I gotta wait for 350. If 350 breaks, I've gotta wait for $4. Have to be very, very patient here. It's got good volume, and as long as it puts in higher lows, you want it testing the top as well, but the bulls kind of have this one by the horns, so to speak. If it gets below $3, I think that obviously changes.
I like that, bulls by the horns. Yeah, hopefully we got some bulls by the horns today as well. And I think we do. I think we're doing pretty good here for you guys so far today. So hopefully you're enjoying the show. And thank you once again for your patronage and always watching and supporting the show. So if you can, share, like, everything. We work super, super hard on this. And we are coming with Memes and Movers at 11 as well. It's only 9:47. I don't know we're talking about that, but I know that's a popular show. There goes Palantir. I told you we weren't going to defend this level. I do have some bids lower though, 24.20, things like that. I think I'm going to hit. I'm going to do the bowling pins here because for me, this was a pretty good call. Like normally I would be long Palantir into this problem, but again, some of this barcoding that we didn't like, and I'll just keep showing the same chart, the 20-minute, but I didn't like this break. I don't know why we didn't go up from last week. So what we're going to get ready to go long now in front of 24. We will try to defend 24 right here. Maybe Brendan can remind us what Grow Generation Brands, GRWG, what their report was all about last week, because there's a lot of talk. I see so many people talking about this on the chat. Look, I've been a big supporter of this, but I've been getting out. You guys know that, like $50, I got some out of this name as well, but it's been just getting absolutely woodshedded as well down here. We did enjoy this back when we talked about it, getting long back in the teens, so we're still at a double for us, but this is a big move down here. We talked about that a little bit with Mark Roberts and Scott's Miracle Grow. He mentioned that again today, I believe, and now you're into this level, and I mean, if this 30 doesn't stand out, then I don't know what does. I'm already in a lot of marijuana names, but I think this is the spot for all of us right now. I mean, buying this at $30 makes a lot of sense. I just wonder, was there something there in that report on Thursday, I believe it was, Brendan, or maybe Friday, where or Wednesday, we absolutely came down hard there on Grow Generation. So they may have guided, and remember, these marijuana plays, man, they're all just waiting for one thing, and it's the federales. You know, we talked about that from Blue Diamond, or what was it? No, what's the Blue?
It's Blue Streak,
Blue Streak.
Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, it's the Diamonds.
Luke Wilson.
They're stealing.
You know
the
that movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, so that's where I think that we're waiting for that to come through, and I mean, until that happens, then. I think you just picked this up on weakness. I like Grow Generation Brands, that's for sure, moving forward on that one.
And you know what's cool? This was a question we got in the pre-market about Grow, and I think the chart looked just as good. I'm only in shorts, obviously. Look, I'll find a long if I can find one. I can't seem to find a fantastic one. Anyways, ENLV, it continues to the downside. I got some out at 12.37. That's the post-halt trade, but I can tell you not to sleep on SESN, SESN. That's all the way down to that 130 level, so right into that 155, shorted it, and then into that low of the day at 130. I'm not sure, I'm not convinced that it can break this one to the 130 side, but if it comes back up, I'm shorting 150s on this puppy. Berendo?
Yeah, a bit of a miss right across the board, it would appear, for Grow Generations, guys. They reported 11 cents versus 12. Still was 5 cents higher year over year. Revenue 125.8. I saw 130, I think. So it looked like both top and bottom lines were a little bit of a miss for GRWG. I don't see anything on a forecast here for them either.
Okay, yeah, I thought maybe that might have been a problem. We'll hit the carnival stick here. Bang that out for NIO because there it goes, man. And we just sat there right at that spot. 65. I mean, we learned from our lessons again, right? Here. So these are some defenses down there of that 65 level. So now we're very, very light. We're holding 10% or so of our position left, maybe even a little bit less than that, as we'll wait to see where NIO goes from here. Another nice out there. That's why I just want to bring it to your attention, man. We're playing off some of these bottoms, and the exact same thing's happening for me on Sonos. It comes right back to 41. We're noticing that it doesn't want to break it. So we're taking advantage of this and not letting our winning stocks turn out to losing stocks.
Look at the bid on Sonos.
There's a bit that's been there for a bit. I don't know. It hasn't moved, so it's a parked order. When it cracks through 86, man, it's done like dinner. So we'll wait to see. I think it happens soon. Like, this is coming down.
Well, you know what I'm going to do.
They know that size is there. Yeah, I think it's worth a long. I mean, I'm already long, but I think it cracks. Here comes Neil. It could crack right now. We also did get into our Palantir. Now, long 21s. We said this is where we sort of started. I'm nervous about 24 breaking. We talked about why we're not in that at 24. So that's a good hold for me. Long 24, 21 now. Maybe even a little too early, but we did call this Palantir move downside, and we also called this NASDAQ move downside as well. So, yeah, let's not give everything back trying to chase longs. But right now, good position here for Palantir. Not a good one now, but we're coming back down to 24. Let's see where we go from here on Palantir. NIO still 17 cents in the money. And by the way, Neil, that's what happens when
now he says don't throw everything away chasing those longs. Oh, yep. I can't see how it is. Look, I mean, we showed you
got it.
We showed you 200. We showed you 200,000 on the bid. If you guys watch the show long enough, you know if I see a bid like that, I mean, on a barcoding stock, I'll take a shot at it. But this is what happens when you don't hit that level and then let your stop order trigger. So I did try to actually hit it myself. I was way too slow. You could have got 85s. I ended up paying down. Like, it doesn't seem like a heck of a lot, like losing 25 pennies, but that could have been like a 5-cent hit. You know what I mean? Like, you could actually hit that bid because it was 200,000 shares. They didn't pull and they didn't go anywhere. Like, it was actually just sitting there the entire time. ENLV is still still looking weak. It's barcoding again off this 1220. If it pops down, I might as well have a, I should actually just have a bid on this thing at about 1205 or so, just in case we get another flush and then hold towards the low of the day. Brendan, what do you have, bud?
What early positivity there was, guys, in crypto stocks? Pretty much gone. Coinbase, first off, red already, bounced off 260, but coming back towards it. You can see Bitcoin coming off in a hurry here. So heads up on some of the crypto names under pressure.
Okay, yeah, we can definitely look at Coinbase. We haven't done a very good job of looking at that today because I haven't done it at all. I haven't looked at it at all. So we'll have to come back to Coinbase and see where we're going on that one. Pretty flat. I just heard Neil say, this is corner of his side of his mouth.
Side of my mouth.
Corner of,
My
yeah, what do you say that?
Corner
That's
of your
okay.
mouth.
Yeah, so there we go. So, all right, one last chance here on Palantir, man. You're going to break through 24. Then we'll see you later on that stock. So we're going to try it again. We've given back some money here, like I said, trying to catch some falling swords. But the thing about it is I wish that I would have just been a little more convinced with my own talk here, because I did talk about Palantir down through 24.50. So this should be a 40-cent win for me. Instead, I'm trying to battle these cheap longs. So we'll see if that can go, man. We're long at 24.16. I may just wind up getting out of some of this one and not worrying about it, because I think this one does break. Look at the NASDAQ, man. We are just cruising for a bruising here on the NQs.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm not short is obviously going to be Tesla here, and it did break that 697, got down to 91s or so. Yeah, 91's almost exactly. It's catching a bit of a bid. If it comes back and you can look at that 97 to 700 on a retracement, I think that'll have to be the way to go, obviously, because I didn't get the first breakdown. And just to come over to context logic, because this was one, there we go. This is one that we're definitely watching. Look, I mean, Wish, I guess there's people out there that like it for whatever reason, but it continues to slide to the downside. This is a trend that looks like it could have some teeth. Based on what happened on Friday, I would have preferred to short pops in this, obviously, because it only went to the upside on us and had to be very patient waiting for 8. I think now we're looking at 7 to 720 for a bit of a retracement short idea there. And SESN, as anticipated a little bit here, it is catching a bid off of this 130 area. If it does get back into the 50s, I will jump into the short side of the trade. I don't love longing it. The long on Friday had everything to do with just how far it halted down than anything else, Brendan.
Market under pressure here, guys. Day lows coming. XL Fleet, however, not so much. We're almost at session highs here. Just bounced off 6 there on a volume spike. Still down, though. Remember on that downgrade for XL Fleet.
All right. Was that SLV Silver?
XL Fleet.
Oh, XL Fleet. Yeah, screw that stock. I'm already in that one. Okay, yeah. Sorry, SLV. I know Silver's been moving around as well. Okay, so just a quick little update here. We've averaged into Sonos, but look at that. We were able to get out on that pop again, back to flat there. So we're still going to hold out for a 40 break. We've talked about that, but look what we said also, man. This is why I just got to be trading these futures. Like I was talking about the NASDAQ today being in a world of hurt, man. It's on the sticky note. It's on everything. And then now to the downside we go. So unfortunately, Sonos looks like it'll be at a tipping spot soon. I mean, we're long at 65, around 20 cents. I mean, this is not a big deal, but I don't like to lose. So that's happening right now, and we'll wait to see if Sonos can get back up. Here we go. It's already starting to move now back into the money a little bit for us, or almost into the money for us on that name. And then Neo does make that crash, but hey, it's holding up, which is amazing. It's unbelievable that Neo's still holding up, so good on everybody for this one. We're short 38.92. We've absolutely destroyed this. Actually, Neo's my #1 stock today. I mean, Sonos will be position pending because we're waiting for that to happen, but now that we're almost out of all of our Neo, this is my #1 stock today. We talked about it. It's all over the sticky note, guys. Short off the open. That was a no-brainer for me into that 40 level. If it ripped up, we would get out, so that's fine. Then cashed out, man. Look at this. That's 60 cents, right? Down to 20. That's 40 cents right there. That's 80 cents. Then we pound the short through 39. We don't get a great price. We get 93s. And then all the way down, which is not bad. All the way down. Then we take out that 38.50, which we called as well. Run, Sonos, run. As now Sonos is back in the money, this wants to take out the #1 spot for me. So let's go, Sonos. We are offering some 90s. Come on, Sonos. One more tick. Ooh, we were at 90 there. Ugh, that's a slippery slope. Let's see if we get that 90, but there goes Sonos. A nice win for us. 20 cents back in the money, guys.
The NEOV did pop through 350 a couple of times here. Now, it's got a couple of kind of weird wicks in there, but it looks like it's trying to hold below. I'm taking it this time as it breaches that 345 mark. I am finally into NAOV. It's the first time, I guess, all day at that 45 mark. If it rolls back into VWAP, I'm 100% taking profits out in front. Look, not all of it, sorry, but I'm definitely taking some profits in front of VWAP. It's just been entirely too strong. After it goes up, it comes all the way back down, breaches 196, so gets stopped out at the top, and then it makes the breakdown. So that stock finally starting to go into negative territory for the first time in like a million years. I'm still in Neo. I mean, again, it just kind of feels like things are weak enough that you might as well hang on to a little bit of it here, guys. And then, of course, you know, we talked about I think it was a Context Logic, but also a bit of PaySafe as well with their earnings. Whoops, PSFE. Come on, you should not be on, but you are in the New York. I always do this.
Yeah.
If it's four symbol, if you've been trading long enough, if it's 4 letters and it's a name that I think is tech, which fintech is, well, then it's supposed to be a NASDAQ stock, but it's New York. I get that wrong every single time. It's actually catching a little bit of a bid here at 890, so it's time to start sort of monitoring this one. I wouldn't think about this with Context Logic, but this and SoFi, I'm looking for them to catch a bit of a bid at some point and then see if there's somewhere to pick this one up. I mean, the market's still looking weak. We're heading down towards that 15,000, but if there's a reprieve at 15,000, you have to ask yourself, what would you like to pick up at the bottom? Maybe scalp some off the lows. This is already an even dollar break. Several times it has failed to follow through. If the market catches a bounce, not a horrible way to think about getting a little bit of a long position here. So monitoring PaySafe, it is of course SSR, short sell restricted, down that 12%, but I'm not really looking to short the bottom anyways.
Right, exactly. So I want to buy more PaySafe as much as I can, but not now we're on the show. We'll wait to see how it reacts today, maybe tomorrow. There's always the 3-day rule that I go with. So we'll wait to see how that plays out in the next couple days. That's PSFE. Okay, on the New York, Neil. Yay, what's up, Rob?
Which is ridiculous.
Okay, so nice little move to the upside here. The other Rob, Tech Rob, how do they? Well, he's been on before reviewing PC parts and how to build the computer. Right. So thank you to Rob.
When things break, that's who.
And hey Rob, what's up? I want to give a big thanks to Rob because he did hook me up with a new keyboard because oh, you got a new one on now too? What do you think of it?
Man. It's amazing. It's a great keyboard.
Good. See, good.
We need like
thank you to Rob.
Some more though.
Yeah, thank you to Rob for that. He did. We need some more. Neil,
backups, man.
Neil, slow down on the budget here, my friend. Slow down on the budget. Yeah, we do need more. Rob will hook us up. He knows. He'll hook us up. These are good ones. That's the thing. We do have some videos out, guys. Like if there's ever, wow, look at Sonos. Let's go. Sorry about blinding your eyes here. We're gonna do a little bit of a belly dance here with Sonos because it's nicely to the upside, and we just take a nice out there for Sonos. 70 cents now in the money and still ripping up. But what I was getting at there before you had to witness that is that if ever your equipment is not proper, just slow down, make sure that you've got your setup. We've got our drinks here, we've got our boards back. Like I actually feel a lot better now. Just having the animations back, I think does something and just helps us, get back into the spot. And those of you know, I'm now in a brand new spot here. It's good to be back. We are back in what Neil calls the cockpit. I choose not to call it that.
Why not? It looks like a cockpit.
We'll think of a better.
If you saw it from here, you'd think it was a cockpit.
Think of a better name than that. But yeah,
I know why you guys.
Right. I think everyone should know why.
Keep it clean.
Oh, yeah, let's keep this clean. Okay, Palantir, nice bounce, but I do want to get out. So let's go back to trading here. I do want to get out a little bit of Palantir if we do come back in. I do love the fact that this market, there we go, we just took a little bit at 11. We're long at 15s. Like I'm slowly getting some out because I don't want it to test that 24 because I will get out, and that's not too far away. So let's try to lighten up a little bit, which we've done. So now we're pretty much done that. The reason why I pulled the NASDAQ up right now is that we're bouncing here. If we can crack through 15,000 on the downside, then look out below, man. I'm not in love with the NASDAQ today. So, but we'll see. Now goes Palantir. Now we're in the money on Palantir. So let's see if it can continue to go upside there. NEO's right back at this spot again. So I think we'll get some out here, 38.60 to close out the NEO trade, man. Could be the trade of the day. Who knows? Good trade here for NEO, Palantir, and Sonos, man. I'm loving life right now.
And I'll pull up my 15-minute chart back up here, but FLGC, once again, making moves because that's that thing that it does. Forget about the 15. We'll just show you on the minute chart here. It's proving to cluster up at around 20 to 21 after a monster dip. Now this, once it broke down to about 18, I was like, okay, we're probably not going to test the top. Now we're right back at that top end again. So very, very strong move. These are all-time highs here. Look at this chart. There has not, for a parabolic mover, there really haven't been any crazy, there's been some pullbacks, but not the monster one. And I kind of feel like you want to let this start to roll before you get too crazy about taking a bit of a short position. But I am looking at that 20 even. It does feel like if it bounces off 20, it'll make another run to the upside here. Maybe it's not 25, maybe it's 22.5, but I'm going to take a shot at FLGC at some point. I do think we're going to get a chance at it. TVTX is now starting to make its third move down. I'm still holding on to some of this. This is on the 15 minutes so you can see. I expect there to be support at $18. I'm going to have a bid down in front of 18. That's where I'd like to get it all out. It was a 21 short off the open. But like I said, this is a $20 stock. It's going to move $2, $3 at a time. And as we see here, it's about to make that $3 move, and I'll cover the rest of it.
Okay, guys, Palantir, big move to the backside right now. So we actually just covered a little bit more than we wanted to. So that was kind of a keystroke by me, so I got to cancel that. We are now long Palantir, obviously, at these nice prices, man. My price is $24.03 right now, as we did take that bid off. So now we're rolling with fire right now. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. Where's my favorite game on here? I'm still willing to challenge everybody to this game here. If you're joining us for the first time, this is my character, man. Ken or Ryu, I don't think it really matters either way. Let me know if it does matter. I've never been able to see where it does. I think it's the same thing, but there it is today. We're going to go trading NEO today. That's just about as good as I can do there for NIO. Palantir, man. Wow, that actually worked out for us, so thank God for that. And then the biggest and baddest of them all for me, SONO, as Sonos continuing. Yes, sir. Another dollar. That's a good win for us. So we rolled the dice on Sono today. And again, just back over here. I know we're going to throw to Brendan in a minute, but I just have to, there, let's do this on here because we'll show it up because it's hard to see with the lighting here. I just got to get better at this. This is what we talked about today off the sticky note. And I'll put the link in the chat. But happy Monday, traders. That's good. Not much today, man. Trade light. It's the summertime. I only have 4 names on here. That's a win. That's a win. That's a win. And that hasn't even been looked at yet. So we're 3 for 3 here today. We're keeping it as light as possible. Brendan's brought you guys some hot fire names as well. So, you know, definitely I would trade the names that like Neil's looking at, myself or Brendan. Or, I mean, if you have other names as well, join the club. But for me, I'm being very, very specific. Put them in the chat. I don't have a mind looking at them. Palantir's 12 cents in the money. Neo, we took $1 on. And Sonos, we've taken multiple times with dollars on that one as well. And we traded a little bit of Ether, which hasn't done a whole hell of a lot. We're running past time right now.
That's a good sign.
Yep, I think so. We are running past a little bit here. So Brendan at the big screen with, I think it's happening now. Let's go.
Hey guys, yeah, 10 o'clock, red numbers right across the board to have a look at so far. It's actually the Russell leading the way here. Small caps under significant pressure as far as U.S. markets are concerned, 1.17% to the downside. Tech stocks as well, 0.8 and 0.65 for the composite in the 100. If you're looking at the NASDAQ, the Dow 0.6, about half. For the S&P overall, a couple of things we were talking about in the pre-market. Yeah, they don't like this news, guys, on Tesla. There was a nice consolidation here in the pre-market that led into this move into the open. So a nice flush through 700. We're all the way down to 688, straight to the downside for Tesla so far. Let's talk about PaySafe as well, because negativity continues as well. It broke 9, kind of consolidating under 9, but volume kind of dying off here. But big move down for both Tesla and PaySafe. Guys, back to you.
So there is something moving as well. I mean, we just said like crypto holding up, and that's a good sign of the market coming down. But Robinhood just bounced. This is a crazy, well, not a crazy wick, but a big wick down into 47 even, and it just bounced back. So you are seeing a downward trend in Robinhood. So of course it's still on TBX. Let's go. There you go. Just showing you a 15-minute look here. Obviously, it's only been trading for a little bit, so there's not a heck of a lot to look at. But look at this bottom that it's trying to take out. This is about 47.5. I know there was a bit of a gap through these levels here when you're talking 49 to 50, but solidly below that 50 mark. Looking to take out that 47.5 and hold below. The wick down, sometimes this is like a flush out bottom, where you're breaking that 47.50, you flush it out to 47 even. So, you know, if it's going to be bearish and it's really going to make that retracement back into like those low 40s, which is certainly possible, I'd be watching out for that 47 to get retaken here. Now, keep in mind, as long as the crypto market holds up, I think Robinhood might actually catch a little bit of a bid off that 47. It feels like a wipeout bottom, and 47.50 is the key level. So if it puts in a higher low, I'd probably try to go bullish on this, although in this market today, it's a tough play, but that's what the setup says. Obviously, a 47 break, I'd be involved into the short side on Robinhood. I'm just not convinced yet that it'll even come in.
I can't believe that all the time there on Robinhood, and we always talk about hating, well, not hating, but loving that $50 break level both ways, man. If you could check out what we did on Friday on Robinhood off that report that possibly they were going to ban that pay for order flow, and then there's something about some conference call crap, that stuff that Brendan was talking about. But whatever, man. We're just going to floss this off because, again, I just tweeted this out, and it's just to help everybody, man. Like, here we go. This is what I just talked about here. here we go. I mean, no, that's the first part. I responded to myself here. This is what happens when I really like an idea, right? With Sonos today. So we talked about it right here, and right on the sticky note, it talks about, and someone said they can't read it, but I can read this pretty good. Multiple upgrades today. Please buy it. Favorable judgment. Break or any long on dips, right? So right here into Sonos. I just trying to follow my own rules. Like, so here's a dip in early. Bang, there's 50 cents. Here's a continued dip down to that 40-50 level and 40 that we want to defend. So we buying these dips, and then it just spikes out of nowhere. So we take $1.40 on that spot right there. Now we're holding one piece and it's light. So let's see where Sonos goes, man. One light piece left on Sonos. So that's going to be #1 stock for me moving forward for sure. Not moving forward, but so far today. Unfortunately, though, this got back to VWAP. We got out, and then there goes Neo, man. That's going to be another one. We'll fall in a hole for the stock. This is going to put us right back, man. A nice little win for us. Wish we still had this, but we called the short on NIO. And again, that's on the sticky note. And there's just some ideas here that we like. I mean, it's Neo under pressure, man. Short to 39. Okay, that's 70 cents in the money. Palantir, watch out. Short 24.50. That went 50 cents in the money. So it's about being very, very specific to me and looking at different names. I also talk about ideas that we're wrong with, right? So this is not just taking a victory lap. I do this every single day. It just happens to be that there's a lot of victories. Hood right now as well. We talked about this on Friday. I wonder if my trades will show up. No, they won't. So we shorted this thing on Friday when this popped up. And those of you that were watching us at the 3 o'clock show, this was a huge short for me. And then I took $1, $70, $80 on this name as it came all the way back in. So I like any kind of pops to be shorted on Robinhood. I think this is about fair where it IPO'd. And I think we can come back here to 34, 35, 36. So watch out for Robinhood. Sonos $1.20 in the money. Palantir just cruising around now. Ooh, right back to its bottom. So I guess that was a good out back there. Let's take a little bit more Palantir on the downside now, guys.
So ENLV sitting about $1.10 in the money here. Then NAOV, it did try to retest the high, which, I mean, anytime you try to retest that high up at 358 here, if it fails, I'm going to try and get more shares in, which is what I did. I actually had another offer trying to pick some 48s up. It just bounced off VWAP, so we'll kind of take this one and take the winner there. I told you guys all about like the two ways I wanted to play Upstart. So this is what it looks like when a stop doesn't trigger. Stop doesn't trigger here. Now I'm looking back to the 10 level, so I just short in front of the 10 and then just get out at 10. I said I'll wait for it because our other play was a 196 break. So I don't do anything until 196 break. I sit it all out, then 196 breaks. Now it's headed down towards 182. I won't end up positive on Upstart because when you get a stop trigger miss on something like this, then you're going to take a bit of a bath, guys. So unfortunately, your call can be right, but execution is part of the game as well. I did finally get out of TVTX, so all flat on, and okay, so this wick. I mean, you're going to see dark pool prints. This is me getting out here at 1830. This did not print up to 1930 and then all the way back down to 1830. That's just a bit of a dark pool, late printing that'll come in the tape. It's been all downside since the 930 pop. That's why there's always a setup that I'm gonna favor. You guys know this. If we bounce off of support here, I'm gonna be hunting for a stock that gives the best opportunity. And then once it slows down off the top, you're just jamming into a short position. And it actually goes right into this cluster here. So very orderly. I'm always taking some out in that first cluster. A pullback, well, I guess, I mean, it's not really a pullback. It's a cluster to the upside when it broke the pre-market highs here at 9 o'clock. And then the next level down where there was another cluster. Again, it slows down there. I held out here at 19 because at that point, I kind of felt like if it's really, really weak, I'm shorting more if it bounces. Otherwise, I'm holding all the way down into 18. So get that $3 win that way. And then back over to, and I mean, SESN, I should say. SESN, I thought, and I did say this, I thought it would bounce off of 130 and I would get an opportunity back here at 155. But this, once again, is the exact same play, and it's the only way I was able to get it today at 154 here when that rolled over. So anything I shorted on the pop, I mean, it worked out. It was just no chance to get any more shares unless you were super aggressive. This now testing the low of the day, and if you're keeping score at home, this was a $6 stock. Of course, they did not get the FDA approval, but they're the only levels that matter, I think, below these prices. Obviously, $1 psychological. 86 cents. When this flushed out and reopened, 86 cents was that low. If that sniffs that price, I kind of feel like it'll probably catch a bid. I think everyone's going to be looking at the same thing, so it might not even get there.
It's like, come on, Sean, man, be a little bit more patient here because now NEO is all the way to the downside and still cracking some lows there. So we'll wait to see where we go on that one, though. For now, that is NEO continuing to move downside. We did get some bids here. We got an 06 bid now on Palantir. So my average price averages up a little bit to 045. We do want to get some more bids now. We are waiting for some lowers, some 05s or so here on that name. We'll see. But look at the NASDAQ right now, just continuing. There's that 15,000 we talked about. So, hey, man, things not going well right now in NASDAQ land, and we called that early. We did rally. We almost got positive, but Brendan, give us another name.
Yeah, big time relative weakness there for tech stocks. Just saw this one pop up, not one we talk about a lot, but FedEx, guys, FDX. Day highs here on decent amount of volume you can see coming in. Not seeing anything as far as headlines yet. We'll keep my eye open, though, for FedEx moving.
Oh, definitely. Look, Tesla's down at that 680 level. I mean, I said 675, and I'm doing my best to be patient. Every time I see this, look, and fantastic. I mean, I hope somebody like Sterling Silver, home run. That's the thing. Like, we'll go over all these names. I'm short everything on the block except for Tesla, right? Like, it is what it is. Like 697 happened, it broke. You can't cry over spilled milk at that particular point. I can flush myself down the toilet for missing that trade. That's perfectly fine. But 75 was where I wanted to buy the dip. I know it's holding 680, and I've said that price in the past, but I'm going to hold out for a little bit more here because we just cracked 15,000 on the NASDAQ. So, you know, if we retake 15,000, then maybe I would play off the 680 level, and then the market can catch a bounce. But if we're actually going to head even further southbound than this, then I need to play it safe and be a little bit more patient with it. SoFi, thank you guys for pointing this one out. SoFi, it's not gone yet, right? But like it just bounced off 14.15s, trying to put in a higher low, looking for something similar on a pay safe, but like, we're still falling down. Like, catching a falling sword on one of these names, I kind of want the market to be turning here. I'd feel a heck of a lot better about it if we were sitting above 15,000 on a retrace. So, you know, I know it's gonna sound like a woodsy thing to say, but look, I'm short, and all the shorts I have are in the money. I do want to go long at the bottom of some of these. I just feel like I don't want to rush into that one, man. Like, you don't want to be Leroy Jenkins on a day like today.
Yeah, no, and there we go. We get a break there finally of Palantir. So we average in just small there. We actually took a 96, and then it breaks 90, and we get out. And again, I feel, you know, we talked about that chart. I should be short this at $24.50, sorry, as per the sticky note. But what is working for some reason, continuing to go up, man. SoFi now back to day's highs. So this is a sweet trade for me, man. Sonos, sorry.
SoFi is
SoFi's probably not doing anything. Sonos right now, yeah, good catch there. Ripping 42.60 right now. It just touched, man. We're $1.70 now in the money on SONO. So let's go Sonos as far as I'm concerned. What's up, Brendo?
There was a acquisition, guys, announced by Roblox this morning. They picked up this Gilded platform for combining gaming platforms that would appear. That is a blank screen. Here we go. Yeah, so under pressure, 4.25%. I just noticed volume coming in at day lows there for Roblox, guys, on the downside.
And if we come from Brendan into, oh, come on, where is it? Where's my Brendan goat? Of course I can't find it. Whatever. I'll get to it in a second if I can. We'll just have to do this one.
Wow.
Oh, you guys like those? I find them funny just because it's like, oh, that's so muted and very, you call it Valley Girlish? I don't know. Either way, ENLV, and we'll talk through some of the setups all the time. And the reason why every single time there's a halt, and it, like a stock that was a gap up, consolidation short that I'm working in the pre-market on, when those things break and then wipe out bottom or even make fresh lows and then right off the open make a spike and halt to the upside. Every single time that halt fails to get through that pre-market high, I'm looking for the same thing and the same thing always. It's an easier setup than just the standard once it gets below that halt price or opens up and can't take out that halt price. Because if it just simply rejects the high of the day, it's an easier entry. Like a lot of times I'm not short this until it's like, if there wasn't this pre-market high, like imagine this didn't exist. Like I'm not short it to like 1265, 1270, because I want to confirm it's holding below this 1295, 13 area. But once we've rejected this 1320 top a couple times, it's just like, forget it. Just go short the second it breaks back down. And then you're getting like 95s or something like that. Fantastic. I mean, you could have had like 85s to 95s, anywhere in that range. And then it goes all the way back into that low. So I'm all out of it. That's how we take like about $1.20 on the last of those shares, guys. So look, I love that setup on a halt. Just make sure there is actual volume on the name. And it's not that there weren't opportunities. Look, obviously there were opportunities on this ELYM as well. look, you're going to see it, halt, open back up, try to break $20. Look at this. This is 20 on a dime. $20, 20.00 was the high of the day on this stock. And then it just absolutely dies, gives you like a $2 or $3 winner, but it's done 600,000 shares on the day. The reality is you're never going to be able to scale up on, I shouldn't say never, but you're probably never going to be able to scale up on something like that because it's just too illiquid. So you find the ones that are going to give you a trading opportunity and you just sort of stick to those. Now I got to go back over to Upstart because like I said, got blown out off the open. We didn't get back in until the 96 break because that was the second trade that we liked here. Now it's bouncing again to the upside. It covered some at 190. It failed, broke 190. Now we're headed back into that 200 range. So I'm going to jump back in front of VWAP here. And as long as we're holding below this 200 to 203 range, I'm going to stick with the short side of this trade. I just feel like at some point, and we'll go back. This is what Upstart did on the daily chart. But really, this is what it's all about here. Ever since that aftermarket break at 140, and if you can't, look at how nice that is anyway, but that's aftermarket. You can't really catch that. But you look at what it did the entire week. You got the Kramer endorsement, made a fresh high, and then it looked like it was rolling over. It wiped out everyone that thought that was going to be a short, only to come right back in, guys. So anytime you have like a wipeout situation like that, that's how you can fall that far because a lot of shorts gave up the ghost here. Now I'm jumping right back into this puppy, and I think there is a decent chance. If this can't break back above that 200 to 203 area, if it fails at that price range, we should be in that 180s that we're talking about in the pre-market with Mark Roberts. So Upstart backing it again. NAOV, it's still holding lower. You guys don't want to see the 15-minute chart on a $3 stock. It's holding lower. It did break VWAP. I covered some at 330. Now you're essentially just barcoding, at VWAP. Once it failed off that high above that 350 level, we jumped into it. It popped up again. I shorted a few more shares there at 52s, and now I can hold out for 315, and then again probably between 3 and 305. So all systems go on NAOV. I still have a piece of for NEO. I mean, at this particular point, I just can't, there's nowhere to get out of it unless it gets to like 37, maybe 37.5. The market's still going downside. That's why I'm not jumping into a SoFi or a PaySafe long just yet, even though I'm looking for somewhere to do so. And we're still looking weak. There's just not a lot of signs of strength yet.
No, there is not. As the market continues to fall, how far is Palantir falling? 23.83. We can look. Let's just do another maybe a 3 or 5 minute chart here just to see any levels on Palantir. If we go back a little bit here, we did dump out of that. We did call that this barcode. Oh, come on, chart load. I don't think it's going to. We did call that this. Oh, maybe it will. We did call about this. We were nervous about this stock today, guys, and what it was doing after earnings. We talked about that. That would have been such a great short. We tried to defend some longs, but we're right into this area one more time, 23.50, 23.60, where we bounced last time. So let's take a shot now for another long here on Palantir. But again, we are coming to the downside. The market is showing absolutely nothing. We talked about this earlier. I started the show with talking about war times, basically, and how negative the market was and how it's not looking pretty. That's why we wanted to short NEO. That's why we had that monster winner on NIO. That's why we weren't going long up here on Palantir, right? So right now, though, that 23.60, let's see if that holds, 23.60 on NIO. And if it does, then giddy up, and we'll see where we can go from there. But FLGC was a good one. Oh, NVIDIA really down today as well. NVIDIA down 4%. That probably means AMD heading to the downside as well, 106, okay? So that is true, man. That's a big one. Look at this long, ding, 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 all the way up there last time. And now you're falling right back into these same areas. So we can watch out for a 106 support, but it's just a matter of what you think. I mean, there's a lot of stocks on sale right now, just about how far down can this market go. So, hey, AMD's on sale right now, back down to 106. That's probably a decent long. Let's try it for a long here in case we do bounce back. But AMD for a nice little long off some of these bottoms.
That was frustrating. We can't do anything on the show. I mean, I'm just looking at that. It is what it is. I mean, I could have actually just had a market on open sell or something on Silvergate as it's down like 5%. Kind of thought it could happen, and now it's down at 106. Won't want that thing to break 100 if it does. Context logic. I mean, so much for this thing giving an entry between 7 and 7.15. It was short sell restricted, by the way. It should be short sell restricted, I should say. But it hit that 675 mark, down 10% on the session. Like anything that's already gotten beaten up is just looking uglier and uglier and uglier. That FLGC, it has come back in. Now, I know this one was maybe, I thought maybe making a push higher, and I would check out 2250 or like 25, but this having the air come out of it as well. So some of the stronger names are starting to fall off a little bit, now back below that 20 level. I kind of feel like this is about to go barcoding on me, so I don't think it's going to be all that interesting. Well, I mean, it could be. I could be wrong about that. But FLGC starting to slow down. I talked about PaySafe and catching a bid. Now, it feels like things are, oh, I did it again, NASDAQ instead of New York. It kind of feels like the market is, like obviously we're on those lows, we're kind of holding on a little bit and tempering this flush that we've been seeing. And PaySafe has again made a fresh low at 875 here and then trying to barcode off of it. Maybe this is a spot where it holds at 3/4 and gets back in through 9, although there's a lot of clutter in front of that 9 even. It's almost cleaner if you catch like an 890. I would just love to see it start to tick higher, and we still haven't reclaimed that 15,000. I'm just going to go with no bottom pick on either this. Well, you know, whether it's going to be PaySafe or SoFi. I just almost don't want to have any long on either one of them unless we break that 15,000. And then when we do, I'll probably take the first level I can get on PaySafe or SoFi. But SoFi, this is what it looks like this morning. Come on, come on. Yeah, it's still actually holding a higher low. It feels stronger than PaySafe for now, I want to say, because it hasn't tested 14 even though these are all-time lows for SoFi. It's got a higher low at about 14.25, 14.30 that it's holding out on. So I kind of like it a little bit better than PaySafe, down that 5%. You remember, if you're watching on Friday, it's how it was just unbelievable barcoding. I can show you right here. Unbelievable barcoding all day long. So if it does break back up into this range, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we catch a decent move back up, 1490 to about that 1520 area. Like that 25-30 cent range, you could just hang out there for the rest of the day. So I don't want to miss a chance that it gets back up into that range because it might not extend through it. So let's see if we can't get a little something on SoFi if the market bounces rather than that PaySafe, just because maybe not as much blood in the water. And there were buyers holding it on Friday, so maybe they're doing the same thing at these lows.
Yeah, need more stimmy checks. Yeah, that may be what everybody needs. But we don't need anything other than a little bit of luck because right now pigs are going to get slaughtered, so we will take a little bit more off of Palantir, man. 23.80, there's the bid, there's the out at 24, so there's 20 cents more back on the backside of our favorite stock, Palantir. And now we just wait to see if we can be even more right and then get out up here in the 24.10s, 24.9 or so area. And that's what I mean about, you know, these drop downs. These are like 20-cent hits, right? I just made 20 cents right there, right on the backside of that trade. So a nice little one for Palantir. We'll see if it can continue to work. Can't believe we still dropped NEO a little bit too early. That's okay. Sonos still working as well. So big time trades happening, but really happy with this Palantir. Now back above 24. Let's see if it flies. We did miss AMD, man. That was another call that I gave. Wow. My bid is still there. I just missed it. 106.80. So we tried to hit it. We didn't. Missed it. That's now up 50 cents. But there goes Palantir and Sonos back to the upside. So let's see if we can't keep on making some money on some of these names as we go. It's going to be tough sledding on PaySafe and some of these other names, even DraftKings down today as well. But over at the big board, it's now time for a name that we haven't looked at too much, but we've talked about it a little bit. That is Wish in Context Logic with small cap recap and Mr. Wickens on the big screen.
Hey guys, yeah, small cap time. Let's jump right into a few that we were discussing in the pre-market here. As mentioned, Wish back towards all-time lows where we were on Friday coming off of those earnings. I mentioned two things, 760, 780, a couple of levels at the top from Friday. Doesn't even come anywhere close to that. Just straight flush down to 680, 670. We talked about a little bit of support. So pretty self-explanatory for Wish this morning right out of the gate. ADMA, very sleepy one, not really doing much. It's just kind of grinding to the downside. We're back to where it started on Friday. So a good place to kind of revisit that if you want on ADMA, but also pretty self-explanatory. This NAOV is kind of frustrating me because volume's dying off. 350 is a monster level, but it's not going. It needs to kind of fail here or we might test the high for NAOV. It gets back above 350. Got to be the other direction here, in my opinion. Anyways, we just retook VWAP as well for NAOV. Guys, back over to you.
Yeah, and like I'm in the same boat thing. NAOV is going to go a little bit more harshly to that downside. Obviously, it still has some room to run. Although I would say this, the fact that it's holding a VWAP is actually a pretty positive sign. If if it doesn't in the next, it's only 10:30 now, but if it doesn't in the next hour or so make a run at that high of the day, it feels pretty likely to me that it'll at least test 3 to 310 before making a run. But we've seen this before, and I always say this. If you have a stock that makes that rollover off of a key level like that 350, and then it manages to hold sort of, either the opening range bottom, which is at 315, or a lot of times that last pre-market support level at $3, either one. If it does hold those levels, you're probably setting up for an afternoon break. And in a market where there's not a heck of a lot that's breaking out, sometimes the issue gets forced in one of these small caps. So, I'm alerted on this NAOV. I'm not letting 358 as a random top. Usually I'll round it up and put a stop at 360. I'm not letting this tick above that high of the day, guys. I'd actually just get right out of it. And Upstart continuing to make another move here. I did short it. I haven't done anything else with this other than short that 197. It's continuing to try to roll over. I'm bidding down here at 92s. I have a bid down at 182. It just feels like, unless this market catches the monster bid, and even if it does, Upstart has a lot more room to come into the downside than it has to go up. Robinhood is starting to go. So it does retest 47. Actually, it doesn't quite break it. It goes down to 47.02 and then bounces right back into the upside. So I still like 47 for a breakdown. But Robinhood catching a little bit of a bid here, guys, as it gets back into view up. The trend is still pretty solidly red. Obviously, that kind of goes without saying. So I don't have any breakouts back to the upside just yet. But that 47 is looming rather large. The amount of times that it tested, if it continues forming a bit of a wedge down here, along that 47, it just maybe heightens the attention towards that 47 breakdown on Robinhood.
Yeah, feeling pretty good here about Palantir as we just got some out one more time in at 24.10, or sorry, 24.08 back to back. Well, actually, one was 6, one was 8 there. So those are nice 30-cent wins. We did take that bottom right there. We took a risk, and we showed you why we like that Palantir bottom. It just goes back, and again, I can show you the 5-minute chart just to show you, why we're doing this and why I like it. So we'll give you that in 1 second. 5 minutes. Okay, so let's zoom back out. And again, it was just back into this level. I don't know if my orders will load up, but we did. There we go. We have defended this level before. It was that drop down spot there, 2360, where we got stopped out before. And then today we come right back into that spot. So we loaded it back up to the long side. So I do like this here for a possible move to the upside now. Palantir, we're out of it, man. We only have 25% left or 20% left, sorry, on this trade, but it's a good one. We defended that level. We got to get in a little bit earlier, a little bit ahead of 2360. But we take the 80s, and then we're upside nice out on that one. AMD also, man, it came screaming right back in, and we did get those 77 or 7. What am I long at? 79, and then we got out at 96. So we take a quick 20 cents there or so, and now we'll wait to see if it can retest these highs of 107.50. So we like this name, we got it, and that's another one, AMD. Let's see if this one can retest highs. But we took a little bit off. We'll see. I'm very, very nervous about this NASDAQ, as you guys know. Sono's still $1. Palantir now going higher, 25 cents in the money. Give us another name here, Brendo.
I was looking at Oatly, guys, in the pre-market here. They reported, obviously, they did actually forecast sales and revenue above, full year forecast for sales and revenue above estimates. So there was initial positivity here right out of the gate. You can see big buy volume came in. They took it up above 18, but all the way back to where we were in the pre-market here for Oatly once again, and volume kind of dying off. So a whole bunch to do about nothing, it would appear, for Oatly, still kind of bouncing around all-time lows. Coming up in 15 minutes, guys, don't go anywhere, a very, very interesting conversation for you about all things crypto. Miko Matsumura coming up to talk a little bit about the crypto market in general. If anyone is kind of sitting in the position where they want to get started maybe in cryptos at this point, but might feel like they missed the boat, he's going to tell you a little bit about how you can go about doing so safely. So coming up in about 15 minutes, don't miss that. First of all, let's get a check on how things are doing over in Europe. Miss V, what's up?
Hey Brandon, European markets are also negative. Lufthansa trading in Germany is down more than 3% after German financial agency said that it's going to sell up to a quarter of its 20% in the company. Back to you.
Don't miss, guys, at 11 then, said Miss V. And Trader Prad coming up, memes and movers at 11, guys.
What a good segue, because AMC just got right towards Friday's highs, and well, whatever. usually catch flack for this, but who cares? It goes to that 34.50 on Friday, then puts it in a lower high at 34.25. You can probably see where this is going. Big bounce, great bounce, fantastic bounce off of 32.50, a couple of bucks, and then it stalls out at 34.25, right? So that's that same lower high. The second it turns, and I would only look at two levels. I was only looking here or here. The second it turned off at either one of those levels, it's a quick scalp short. I am holding on to the second half because I would like to see this, I'll zoom back in now, I would like to see this extend down to like 33.50, but for me, a lot of times it's either, if it had been 34.50 at the top, maybe I had to hang on for a VWAP retracement. It is that lower high, so we'll get a little bit tighter of a range here into that 33.60 or so. Otherwise, if 25 wants to break, I'll get out and look towards 34.50. So AMC, another mover, finally. I mean, you have something which is moving to the upside, so any bulls out there, yeah, you've got one in AMC. It's just ran once to that 34.25 previous lower high, and then 34.50. You know, that's a big level, guys. Usually when it bounces up strong like this into a break like at 34.50, and then obviously the round number 35 is there, that feels like a trap for a breakout trade, so you will not see me punch along through 34.50. Sorry to disappoint.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to be a good move. I'm just canceling some orders here. Okay, Palantir still going to the upside. We did talk earlier, and I did say Tesla's probably a decent buy down near 670, 680. So we are, sorry, 660, 670. So we are getting close to that level. Remember when we said earlier when we were only down, it's close. Well, it's 680 right now. When we were getting close before, we did talk about here, guys, that this was a good reason and a good opportunity for traders to get out. Any traders that were long into this spot here, you did have some negative rhetoric coming today in the markets. We already know about that. So here comes Tesla to the downside, getting sold off one more time and trying to bounce off that 675. I mean, that's the low today, 676. So great bouncing spot there for Tesla. You could definitely look at that. We did call this to the downside. I also called Moderna probably going to that 350 level. I'm wondering if that's, ooh, it does. It stops there in on a dime. Wow. It's, again, I mean, it's going to seem like I set that up, but I didn't. I didn't even realize that the ultimate low today, it says 349. I guess that's that wick. And we talk about setting your trades a little bit lower than any kind of an out, but there's 350, bounced 10 bucks off that 350 level. So that looks like a good trade there for anybody that went long Moderna there off the bottom. That Sesson not doing much. You just talked about AMC. Space trying to get off the schneid a little bit as well here.
How is that holding 25 today? Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's still down. Oh, no, it's actually up 1.5%.
Branson dumps it. I'm like, this is going to be this is the week. I even said it last week. This is the week I'm going to get those mid to low 20s on Virgin Galactic. I don't know, my 15-minute chart doesn't want to load up here, and of course, this is the day that actually holds up above that 25 level. So, look, it might have to take a baby position. If it's going to hold 25 this week, then I'll probably jump in at least a little bit of something off that level. It is what it is. I mean, you can't fight the stock forever, but I do want to get back into it or some more shares for the long term. I'm still actually holding some. This NEO, oops, that's still on the 15-minute there. This NEO catching a bit of a bid, but hey, but we're not back into the 39 area. If we retest and roll over, I might jump more shares into the short side again. AMC, it's back down towards that 33.80 level. If it breaks that, I'm looking to cover in front of 60s. So only looking to grab like 50 cents on that short trade. But it does feel like, you know, with the market testing back in, I don't want to give up everything here on NEO. You know, we're trying to get back to that 15,000 on the NASDAQ. And if that happens, there are some longs that we like. One of them, of course, was going to be possibly PaySafe. The other one that we talked about that might be a little bit better is that SoFi.
Yeah, right now, yeah, and I'm still riding along, so that's why we hit that on that talk there. AMD 50 cents now in the money and ripping higher. We'll see if we can't get out around 40, man, and take that 60, 70 cents. If we could do that. Palantir now 40 cents in the money, 55 cents in the money, and now moving to the upside. Palantir is going to be on watch for me now today after making that nice bottom. We already talked about why we like that. We only have 25% left, 25, 50, 75, whoops. 25, 50, 75, 80. We have 20% left. What am I talking about? Now we're going right back up here to VWAP again, near its highest spot where we've gotten out before. So this is going to be a good one for me. And then Sonos. So right now we have, look at this, AMD 50 cents in the money, Palantir 40 cents in the money, Sonos $1.50 in the money. So we're 3 for 3 right now, and we're looking for some new ideas. So Google down a little bit here today. We're already on Sonos. Alibaba to 182. I don't really want to touch some Chinese names where he talked about that. We were dead right, man, dead right. I mean, my number one stock is going to be Sonos, but but right next to it, I mean, AMD could take it as well, but right next to it's going to be NEO, man. We were hammered this one short. Like, we have the shortest short of the day right there at 39.60. Now we'll see if it's coming back in, but it tests VWAP again. We're not in this name, but man, did we clean this one up all the way to the downside. So that looks like that was a good one for us today. Clover, Wish, Mara. I mean, Brendan talked about Wish getting into that 660 level or so there. It's a NASDAQ name, into 660 level. Ooh, we did bounce off there. So we talked about Wish, and it's not going to show my trades, but we defended. There's this level down here, 730. We got to that early. That got faded, but then look right here. This is where we held, and I know Brendan did small cap recap, but we held down here numerous times, man, 670. So to see Wish today make that bottom of 675, that was a pretty obvious long. And again, that's part of what I was talking about. I'm lowering the names today. You're only going to see me in 4 names today, right? Normally I'm in 7 or 8. So that was one that was missed there, Wish. Sometimes you do got to look at a little bit more.
Yeah, and someone's like, you're going to lose on AMC. I'm like, couldn't. Already covered some at that 80 level. My stop was at 34.25. So, well, I shouldn't say that because my stop could have not triggered. That can always happen to you. But here it goes to that 34.50 level. I said I'd take it out at that lower high and then look back towards this 34.50. Now, I think it's a trap to go long in front of 34 off the 34.50 break. That would have actually triggered just now. So if I was going long, I'd be long right now, 34, probably like 52 or 53, and then sort of thinking about what I'm going to do next. So that's why I'm backing away from AMC. I don't think, it's not that it can't continue further, but at this time of day, when it moves up in this particular fashion, I never like that break trade. I just find I don't have a lot of success with it. That's why tight stop on the rest of that short. I'll cover. I don't mind doing that. And then I actually got into SoFi finally. Whoops. I did it again. NASDAQ on NASDAQ here. SoFi, it was barcoding. I'm like, what? The only breakout, you're waiting for 1450, which is at VWAP. But it's clustering off of this low. And this is not a 14 low. This is actually 1418. So it's even held that teens or even level. It's holding above that 14 even mark. So if we're able to do this and then take it off of the low of the day, why not just go ahead and do that? I can scalp some out in front of that 1450 instead of waiting for it to break. And if we have made a turn in the market here, just look to something which has gotten beaten up. This has made a fresh low. Forget about the day. Let's look at the 15. And let's not forget what happened. This was barcoding like all heck on Friday afternoon. And I would anticipate if we get anywhere close to this level, things will slow down again. But we've got a good 50 cents until we get into these prices. I think SoFi has a decent chance of making that retracement. I did think this move was going to happen. Look, I thought the same thing was going to happen. And I even said, if SoFi sits in a barcode for the rest of the day, it's exactly the time of day that I said this on Friday, then I would be absolutely shocked. I probably said I would do something, although I don't remember what it was. I will once again be very shocked if SoFi just sits here in a 20 or 30 cent range for the rest of the session, although that's exactly what it did on Friday. That does give you some cover, however, if you're going to sit in the long, because it also means you're not likely to get stopped out. I can just sit with a stop at the low of the day, and if it doesn't move, well, you can't lose then.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. And we thought it would move a little bit more. Hectory, what's up, buddy? Thank you so much for the super chat. I will talk about at least one of these. I'll talk about skills right now. I don't have any opinion on Ride. I hate, I don't like anything EV right now. So we can look at that, but skills for sure. I think this has a good opportunity, man. We're going to see where Roblox comes out today. Remember, this is a mobile gaming platform as well, competition based. But look how nasty this is, man. Skills just straight to the downside, getting pumped. I mean, this is the daily chart. You're all the way back down to some of these levels. Again, $9.75, $10. That's right where we're at now. I mean, I don't care if it's $11.50, whatever. What's the difference between $10.50, $11.50? If you're making moves down, you're making moves down. I think this is a buy. I mean, to be honest with you, it's at these levels. You could get some explosion to the upside. We do know, we'll find out for you, the short interest, SKLZ, definitely some short interest there. But I think that you do have a possibility, especially if we squeeze above this 1250. This level is an area of concern big time for me if I was short. If we broke anywhere near, even 12, I mean, I just wrote that at 12, but it's more this bottom right here, like 1250 or so. If you break out past there, and then get above this consolidation, I do like skills, and that's only $1 away. So, I mean, for me, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I may start playing in some of this as well. I think this has a chance to go to the upside. I like the space. I mean, it's gambling, it's online, it's everything tech. I like the space, especially with Delta variant maybe kicking back out, not maybe, but is back and back with a vengeance. So watch out for Skills. I do like that one. And on the same note, I do like Amazon as well. So there's lots of talk there, and hopefully that's worth your super chat. Let's see if Skills can go. I do want to watch that. It's now on my radar. I will be watching this a lot more. I think it's about time that I invest in some of this name as well. Skills looks like it's going to blow past that 1250, and watch out when it does. I'll find the short percentage for you when we get back from Brendan, who's going to go with the big board now. Let's see how these various markets are holding up. Take it away, Brendan.
Hey guys, yeah, quick look at the overall market. Pretty red board. You're going to see here we are now down 0.6 on the S&P. So I wanted to start up here in the healthcare group because Moderna, they got expanded EUA approval today for their third dose for immunocompromised patients in the U.S. So there was that. They also signed an agreement with the government of Canada for expanded vaccines going through 22 and 23. So there was that positivity. And it's down 9% today, leading the healthcare group to the downside. So big move back to earth a little bit after the huge run-up that Moderna has had that we've been talking about. But down here, energy stocks also under pressure, 3 to 4%. Right across the board, we saw in the pre-market there, oil still down 3+% on oversupply concerns. There's Tesla, 4.8% on that investigation news. Some of the travel names are up here, including some of the Hotel Caesars, Penn National as well. Among the leaders to the downside today, guys, in the consumer discretionary consumer services, 4.3% for Penn. Amazon, 2% to the downside. Rare you see a 2% move for Amazon to the downside, 2.6% for Gap right above it. We mentioned Tesla, about 5 to the downside now for Tesla. Tech stocks right across the board, pretty ugly today. Apple there, it's tough to see, but Apple down 1.5%. AMD and the chip makers leading 3.2% to the downside. On this side of the board, the utilities are trying to offset a little bit. There's somewhat of some strength coming through in the utilities group. Material stocks, though, unfortunately, looking a little bit like the energy group overall. Pretty red right across the board. 0.57 to the downside, guys, for the S&P. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Brendan. There was a question, someone saying if there's room to the upside still for ENLV. Here's the best case I can make for this stock. Anytime you get a halt, look, we talk about this setup here, you get that halt up, it holds a high, it was already a downward trend. The simple fact that it hasn't even tested or broken this low, and as long as it's above 1150, I think there's at least a decent chance it can make another move to the top. But the levels here, like I'm out of this and I won't touch this thing unless it breaks 1150 or retests the high. I don't want any part of it inside of the middle. I think there's going to be better fish to fry, especially with the market moving around a little bit here. It is worth noting, and I'm going to pull up the daily chart on this stock. This is not, it's not exactly the same as some of the other like crazy gappers in there that you don't think there's going to be any kind of support. I mean, it already broke the 50. It broke the 200 period moving average here. And then there is a level higher. If it would have broken that 1320, it was going to run right into this $14 level anyways. I think your only play would be off of that 1150, unless you want to long into support, or maybe you're looking for some kind of a swing. I don't think, but I'm not touching this thing with a 10-foot pole unless it, I guess, fail break down through 1150 would make a little bit of sense. Like it could trigger some shorts off that bottom, immediately retrace it, stop them out, and next thing you know, you got a long in the 60s or 70s with a 50 stop. Something along those lines wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. Volume's absolutely dying out on it. Like I'm watching the level 2 on this thing, and this is outside of that little, of course, the second I pull it up, right, there's actual printing going on, but nothing really happening on ENLV, and it's gonna need a volume spike. So the best thing you got going for you is, I think a lot of the shorts that would have made a play like this are out of it. And then it's at least still holding that opening range bottom, but that's your stop. If it breaks 1150, I mean, you're hoping, praying that it's a fail break, so maybe give an extra 25 cents if you want to hope and pray. I don't love hoping and praying, but every now and then it works. So obviously it wasn't a trap on AMC. At least I can say I got out of it, but every now and then it's like, yeah, 34.50, that'll be a trap. No, not really. Still through 35, so it looks like Trader Pratt MSD will have something to talk about. The memes are moving. I don't know, That's a horrible pun. Memes are moving, memes and movers. But 35 just came out on AMC. I know GameStop was moving a little bit as well, not nearly as much. It's now holding a high here at 167. There was a more sharp pullback in GameStop just now of 166, but it held pre-market highs. Both names going to the upside, although AMC has a ton more relative volume compared to GameStop. So I would be in that stock if you have to trade one of the two. Brendo?
All right, guys, thanks so much. Yeah, he's a crypto and startup investor. He's overall a very busy guy. He founded crypto exchange Evercoin. We're so thrilled to have Miko Matsumura with us to talk a little bit about the crypto markets in general today and the state of where things might be going. It's great to have you, Miko. We really appreciate your time, and thanks for doing this today.
Sure, no problem.
Let's talk a little bit about DeFi. Everybody's been, it's one of the hottest terms that you hear all over the place at this point. And specifically, I want to, talk a little bit about an internet-based financial system. And, you made some comments talking towards it being not only an inevitable, but favorable. And, we should not only be not hesitant to accept this, but maybe looking for ways to participate in an internet-based financial system. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I've been working on open source software for decades here in Silicon Valley. And, the thing that I think is amazing, Mark Andreessen from Andreessen Horowitz, a famous venture capitalist, said that software is eating the world. So the thing that's interesting is open source software is free software. And so the thing that I think has always been the case is free software has always been inevitable. So, as far as why it becomes so powerful is, first of all, of course, it's free. But second of all, and importantly, it competes for users. It competes for consent of developers and users, right? And historically, it's competed with software that you pay for, right? So it's really hardened software. It gets better and better all the time. And if at any time you don't like anything, just wait and developers will fix it. So, I think it is inevitable, and I think it's going to be a better alternative to the traditional financial system.
If viewers are sitting here saying, okay, what exactly does this mean? What exactly is it that we're talking about? And how can I get involved if there's interest there? What do we need to know exactly about something going from, a traditional system as we have now to a decentralized financial system as DeFi is known, right?
Yeah. So the thing that's really interesting is that there are several properties of decentralized finance that are extremely important. So one of them is automation. So generally, there are these smart contracts, and smart contracts really run the decentralized finance ecosystem. So the thing that's very important to understand is it's software, right? And it actually is mostly automated. And so the thing that's great about automation is that automation has properties of being reliable. But in addition to being largely automated, and of course you have to be careful, because if someone says something is DeFi, you should probably understand what it is, because people can say anything is DeFi, they can say anything is anything's, right? So be careful when you look at something. But if you understand something to be automated, the other thing that the properties that you expect from a decentralized financial system is transparency. So not only is the source code of the software transparent and you can read it, but the data, so-called on-chain data, is readable by everyone, right? So for example, if you have a financial system that includes things like lending, you actually understand things like the collateralization. So it's transparent in a way that traditional finance has been intransparent. So in a sense, the automation, the reliability, the transparency, the open source, these are all reasons to improve and increase on traditional systems as far as trust. So when you think about automation, the best way to think about these financial services is as like a vending machine. So a vending machine, basically, you put in some currency, you get out some value. Very similar ideas. There are vending machines for different kinds of tokens. There are, of course, what I call lending machines, which are like vending machines, but you put deposit money and you borrow and you've collateralized yourself. And the thing that's amazing about these things too is that if you default, liquidation's automatic, right? So it's all automated. It's a very, very powerful and very transparent system.
Miko Matsumura is general partner at Gummy Cryptos Capital, here to talk a little bit about the crypto markets in general. And I want to take a second here, Miko, and discuss a little bit about, if somebody has been sitting on the sidelines for, the past 10, 20 years when it comes to the crypto markets a little bit, and have now gotten to a point where, they're sick of hearing everyone talking about this and they're sick of, not being involved. What would be the best way, in your advice, to maybe get started if you wanted to right now in the crypto markets?
Sure. So I feel like if you're a retail investor, then I think start very small, but start. I think the first thing that you should understand is you're not late. This is like the birth of the internet. It is a very substantial innovation, and we're actually in a multi-year cycle. So it's been, 12, 13, 14 years since, the beginning of Bitcoin, but we still have many years to go, and we have lots of value to create, right? So I think that's important to understand. I would definitely concentrate on the bigs. So obviously Bitcoin is very big, Ethereum is very big, right? And so you should concentrate on those. I also think that, if you start very small, I have a suggestion called Grand Canyon money, which is, imagine you're at the edge of the Grand Canyon, you throw money in. How much money was that, right? So, however much that was, you can use that as a benchmark for how much you should use to get started, right? Because these systems do behave a little bit differently from what most people are used to. And so you should get used to that before you over allocate.
Everybody is looking for a place to do so. Let's talk a little bit about Celsius Network, a platform to not only get involved with cryptos, but also learn a little bit as well.
Yeah, so I'm an advisor to Celsius Network, just full disclosure. And, what I think is so interesting is that Celsius, the experience of Celsius is basically proof that we've built a better financial system. You can put in, some amount. There's actually the highest yields are based on stable coins. So for example, coins that are pegged to the US dollar, like USDC, and you can get interest rates that are annualized to around 8+% or more. And so this really is amazing that this system produces these kinds of yields. And, so obviously if you go to traditional banking, you're not going to see yields anywhere close to that, right? So for me, one of the no-brainers is you can go to a Celsius.network and you can basically put in a small amount just to see what happens, and if you're just getting started in crypto, don't go overboard, but learn and learn by doing. Don't sit on the sidelines. I think obviously the time in the market beats timing the market. So if you get in and stay in, that will be the most favorable for you, and allocate amounts that are reasonable for your current situation.
It's a fascinating time in general for crypto markets, and a fascinating time for this topic. Miko Matsumura, we appreciate your time today, and we look forward to an update in the future.
Great. Thank you very much.
There we go, guys. A little bit of a look at some different ways that you can not only get involved if you're not, but a little bit on DeFi there as well.
Thanks again, Brendan. And look, I'll tell you this right now. I'm stealing the living crap out of that line. I don't care. I'm just candid. I'm telling you. Time in the market is better than timing the market. I don't know if maybe someone's already said that, but I love that line. That's actually fantastic. So I'll go with that. And if you hear me say it, I'm here telling you that shamelessly I'll be a bit of a thief when it comes to stealing a good line, because I don't have many myself. Someone just asked me, what am I doing with AMC? Well, first of all, you guys in 5 minutes are going to Trader Pratt and Ms. V for memes and movers, and obviously AMC is on the move. Unless the market does a absolute rebound, like a big rebound in, and we get that 15,000, or unless I have my 15-minute chart up here so you guys can have a quick look at it, or unless we get up to this 38 level, or at least close to this 37 to 37.5, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. Like you saw, it was a very a very simple structured idea for the short trade off that 34.25, the lower high from Friday. And then I'm like, no, I can't lose because I'm going to get out right here when a 25 breaks. So I was in here shorted at about 12s, 25 breaks, actually almost no slip, was able to get cover at 27s. And then we're heading to the upside. Now, obviously, I could have gone long. It is what it is, but I didn't. So, like I talked about why I thought it was a trap. It wasn't a trap. It went to the upside. So bulls, good for you there. Look, Upstart is going to keep falling to the downside, but remember, my stop didn't trigger when this thing took out that high, so unfortunately I took a hit there. I shorted it when it broke 196. It was the other level that we liked. I then shorted all the way up into that 203 that I love. I've started taking some off here down in this 196 cluster. I'm bidding in front of the current lows, that 188 and that 190, 192 level. And I still have a 182 bid on this one, just in case it dies. I mean, I don't know if it will. Still thinking it's going to be a sell-off day for Upstart. As I cough there. Still think it's going to be a sell-off day for Upstart, and mostly because of what this did during last week. At some point, I expected a $15 to $20 reversal. It didn't happen right away. I think it could happen today. If you look at what's happened in the past, when that capitulation day comes, this was a $40 move. It's a couple days worth of a $15 move here and then like a $30 move in there. And this has been the strongest stock that I could find last week. Upstart, great story, unbelievable story, but at the end of the day, what goes up usually must come down. You don't just go up forever. Pullbacks are healthy. I did miss out on the top and Upstart, but I wasn't hunting tops. It obviously, I was hunting tops down here, but I wasn't looking at anything in the 215 range. So I sat it all out till 196, and now we can play off that 203 area that was so good. NEO did work. Well, I should say, it did work a few times off 39, again into VWAP here. It's going to play 39. I feel like this might be the last time we get a shot at this 39 bottom, especially with the market slowing down here at 14.9. If it does catch a bid, NEO's likely to break back up above this 309 area. And I was going to stop it out at 39.15, but with it holding VWAP now, yeah, I'd probably get the rest out here, just about break even, just to be done with this trade. I'm hanging on in case we flush back down towards the lows, but it'll be a relatively tight stop for me on the rest of these NEO shares.
So I did, good talk there. Thanks, Brendan, with our guest. That was pretty important. 25.30 there, 24.30 on Palantir comes all the way back up. That's a nice bid there. It crushed the VWAP pretty easily. It only went to 30 though. So the VWAP was at 25, 23, only went up 7 pennies from there. So we'll watch, maybe we'll get out of that one earlier than we thought. And then again, I tend to agree. Smart contracts are going to be all the rage, and Cardano releasing their version. So watch out for that, as that's going to continue to move to the upside, I believe. We've been talking about this name since 15 cents, guys. It's at 212, so we could figure out the math there. And that was been a pretty good return as well. I do like Bitcoin. I don't really understand what he was talking about there. Whatever money you would throw into the Grand Canyon, consider that's what you would start with.
I wouldn't throw money in the Grand Canyon.
I just don't know what that means, but I guess it just means any money you're willing to lose, you should put into crypto. I don't know, that doesn't sound that positive to me. Brendan over there at the desk, actually. What's up, Brendan?
Yeah, a couple minutes here, guys. We still have some earnings to get through. It was, I believe, 89% of the S&P has now reported for Q2. I think there are a couple on here, actually, for tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow morning and aftermarket tonight.
Well, we talked about Walmart with Mark Roberts there, and look.
What is alkaline water symbol, anyways? Oh, WATR.
Yeah,
I think.
Exactly. Alkaline water, who we've had on the show, they're going to be reporting as well. So we'll get that symbol up in a second. But Home Depot and Walmart, we know we're also getting Target and Lowe's on Wednesday, I want to say, and then Roblox, of course. If you're not looking at those ones off of this list, then I don't know what it is that you should be paying attention to outside of, hey, I'll be looking at alkaline water. We had the samples of those guys, and look. You can't get away from the crypto-related names. You're not going to get away from the EV space, which is also moving around. And given what's happened with tech today, certainly you have to watch to see if there's going to be a rebound in the afternoon. It certainly looks like we've been trying valiantly to catch a bid, and there has not been one on the NASDAQ just yet, guys. So, it's a bit of a red day, despite Miss V wearing the green. So when we hand off to memes and movers, Trader Pratt and Miss V will have some of the heavy lifting to do. But you know what? Take your you got the chart up?
Yeah, of course.
I was going to say, if you have the national day, make sure you have some water to go with what the national day is that you'll find in a minute.
This water chart here, guys, we had them on, and I'm pretty sure it was sub $1 or something like that, so it went up to 225. WTER, we had them on, talked all about it, and I still have my alkaline water over there, so should have bought the stock instead of drank the water. What's up,
Steve? Could have done both.
Hey guys, thank you for starting this trading week with us. I hope you're having a great day, and please make sure before you move to our Memes and Movers show that you like this video. Guys, I'll see you there, and happy National Rum Day, everyone.
Ooh, rum day. Okay, yeah, we're down with some rum, and Neil was right about that. Don't drink too much rum without drinking too much water.
And I'll go with there's a couple I like. I'm Antiguan, so English Harbor is pretty fantastic. Look, there's a lot out. There's a lot of good ones there. Kraken's pretty good as well. But I'm a rum guy. I absolutely love it. Rum and ginger beer, like an authentic ginger beer, is certainly the way to go. Brendan, thoughts on National Rum Day, my friend?
Definitely. Want to mention Peloton here real quick, guys. There was a headline on Peloton just out. It is coming back to the downside, but apparently that repair, so we were talking about that default that they had. It was tragic, some injuries to children involved in that, but they have gotten an approval to go ahead with the repair for those units now, so it looks like that just came out. So it did initially spike up to 112, but coming back a bit for Peloton.
Yeah, it's an interesting daily chart for Peloton if it would load up, because the level is bouncing off or attempting to 108 is kind of a big one. Doesn't want to load fully, but you guys know where you're headed. We will be back, of course, at 3 o'clock for Power Hour, because that's what we do around here. We give you everything that you want, and what you also want is memes and movers. But it's been a fantastic morning. You have to pick your spots on a day like today. The market's trying to make a little bit of a bounce, but it's struggling just a little bit here. But it is time for us to sign off, at least until the close, and send you right on over to Trader Pratt and Miss V. You're going to love it. Time for memes and movers.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Test, mic test. Hello?
Hey guys, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Well, please be active on the chat, write your comments, write what you trade, ask us anything.